Alrighty, people. How we doing? How we living? How we feeling?
Here.
We've got an absolutely fantastic stream for you today. I mean, this one might go down in history. In fact, it will, because we will never have January the 15th ever again. So let's make the best of it, yeah. We appreciate you guys for being here with us. Got an absolutely banger of a stream for you. Going to be doing a 2025 rookie mock draft. Shout out to our intern, Sammy Stacks. I wonder if he takes any disrespect by us calling that, because it's just a joke. He's definitely not an intern. He's definitely not getting paid anything. He's just an awesome guy. But shout out to him for whipping up another mock draft for us. If you guys didn't see, Dane Brugler, who is my favorite in the industry, released a 2-round mock draft, and he had Caleb Johnson in the first round, which I loved to see, because for whatever reason, this month of January, it seems like it's the month where everyone's trying to discredit both Caleb Johnson and Marion Hampton. So I love to see from my favorite, Dane Brugler, putting Caleb Johnson in the first round.
Yeah.
Big fan of his game and excited to walk through this mock draft. And the reason I brought up that mock draft is because our intern, Sammy Stacks, was using today's mock draft and took some inspiration from one Dane Brugler, the great
Brugler himself.
So, again, we do appreciate you guys being here with us. So, Badaki, you're getting into the swing of things. Obviously, you do a lot of work for us on the back end with all the team reviews and everything. But are you any further in depth in like your feel on the class, and as a Giants fan, where you think you guys should be going?
For me, I think we should go Cam Ward. I know that's probably we disagree, but if Cam Ward's there, it has to be high upside. I sound like a broken record. You're probably gonna be hearing me say this all the way up until April. But if you just want a Kirk Cousins type of quarterback, sure, let's go Shador. Let's get 8, 9, maybe 10 wins. Is he going to win you a Super Bowl? Probably not. That's what Kirk Cousins has been. That's what Kirk Cousins probably is doing to multiple teams, right? But for me, it's like
you guys would rather have Will Levis, and I understand.
I just say we shoot for the stars.
I'm kidding.
I mean, have Will Levis and know that he's going to bust, or have Kirk Cousins and win 8 games and just be like, we're just going to be a middle of the pack team for the next 7 years.
No, I understand.
I think I would rather be bad and just get our superstar quarterback and go through the cycle rather than be mediocre for the next 7 years and be like, wow, what a waste.
Yeah, not a great year to be looking for a superstar quarterback, but I do wish you guys the best of luck. Well, in a way, I hope you guys stay at the bottom of the NFC East. But what's up, guys? Welcome into the stream. I see y'all in the building. Neon's here. Nelson's in the building. Brandon's in the building. We've got Connor, Jacob, FF Snoog from Twitter. He's got a great Twitter account. What's up, man? K Money's here. MP Clint's in the building. Happens in the building, who we're reviewing his team after the stream. We got Styles in the building. What's Gucci happen? And it's good to see everybody here with us. Thanks for joining us. Do us a favor, smash that like button. We got a like goal today of 150 likes. Last time we had 100 and you guys smashed it. If we reach 150 likes, we'll do 2 mock drafts for you guys today. So be a friend. Go ahead and smash that like button for us. Now, let's get to the nitty gritty, shall we? Again, we are doing a Superflex rookie mock draft. And if people want to join that mock draft, Badaki, how can they get into it?
Yeah, join our Discord. That link is in the description and also in the chat, as you can see there. Join our Discord and then go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs. Go to content releases, or excuse me, go to announcements, and that's how you can join each and every mock draft, okay, as you can see on your screen. So once again, join the Discord, go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs, go to announcements, and then that's exactly where I'll be sending the link to the mock drafts. Zach, you should definitely join the mock draft, and then I'll send that out.
On my screen, it says I'm joined, but let me refresh and double check.
I just refreshed, and you are in. Maybe it was on my end. Okay. Give me a second. 3, 2, 1. There you go.
All right. So that link is out here. Let's have a look at the landing spots we're going to be using for tonight. This link is in the description. I will also put it in the chat for you guys right now. Again, shout out to intern Sammy. put together a nice little mock here. I don't think people understand how difficult it is to put a 7-round mock draft together. I mean, he's doing the Lord's work here. So I like this because I don't think this is, look, it's just my personal opinion, but I don't think that quarterback is a lock to go 1-2.
Oh, he has Cam Ward. There you go. I was just talking about it. All right.
And I think there's a chance that Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter could be the first 2 players off the board. I don't know what order, but if teams are looking at this quarterback class and they're like, you know what, let's just continue to build, around the weapons that we have or don't have, and let's build a good environment for a quarterback. That's the scenario that's playing out here with Abdul Carter going to the Titans, Travis Hunter to the Browns. Then we see Cam Ward, who lands with your Giants, which is what you wanted. Tet McMillan goes to the Patriots. I think this is everybody's probably ideal landing spot. Like, if Tet doesn't go to the Patriots, I think everyone's going to really not be obsessed with this because there's a lot of landing spots that he can go to where it wouldn't look very pretty. Shedeur Sanders goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Tom Brady connection is strong. Then we see Ashton Genty to the Dallas Cowboys. Luther Burden to the Falcons. Wasn't obsessed with this landing spot initially, but the more I think through it, like, no disrespect to Darnell Mooney, but long term, like Kyle Pitts, how many years, how many off seasons can we say, well, Kyle Pitts is young, and don't forget what he did in college. Well, I mean, you're getting a legit number 2, right with Drake London. So I'm not completely opposed to this idea after second thought. Tyler Warren goes to the Broncos. Colson Loveland to the Chargers. Love that landing spot for those 2 tight ends, rather. The Vikings. And the back half of the first round go Caleb Johnson. Now, if you don't know, again, Dane Brugler released a 2-round mock draft today, my favorite in the industry, and he also had Caleb Johnson going to the Vikings at the back end of the first round, and I love it. I mean, I think Caleb Johnson would fit this offense perfectly. If you know anything about college football, you know how terrible Iowa's offense has been for the past, 5 years. This man put the team on his back, and did it efficiently and effectively. Break tackle machine. Runs through the wall like the Kool-Aid man. I said that for Judkins, but it applies here to Caleb Johnson as well. Into the second round, Jalen Milroe goes to the Browns. Emeka Egbuka slips out of round 1 to the Titans. I definitely think Egbuka in a weak class is worthy of being round 1. I think last year he's probably a round 2 pick. So there's a possibility that this happens. There's a possibility he slips into round 2. But I could see him going, round 1 as well, like JSN range. I just don't think he's as good of a prospect as JSN after the catch, specifically. Amarion Hampton to the Raiders. I like it. They need a running back. Matthew Golden, who actually, in case anybody cares, if you're on the Flock Fantasy website and you're waiting for the most updated version of our 2025 rookie report, which will release after the Senior Bowl, okay? I am scouting Matthew Golden today. Literally, as we finish this mock draft and this stream, that is the number 1 task for me for today, is to scout Matthew Golden and Alec A.O. Manor. So, huge fan of what I've heard, at least from reliable sources. Harold Fannin Jr. goes to the Dolphins. I mean, how could we not fall in love with this? I've said this many, many times, and people misconstrue it as me not liking Harold for some reason. But I don't think he's a very good run blocker. I don't care what PFF grades say. I don't think he's a very good run blocker. I think if he's drafted early, it tells me a team sees him as a legit receiving threat for their offense. And look at what Jonnu Smith did last year. I mean, this is like your long-term Jonnu Smith. Paint the picture. It's so easy to paint. Travion Henderson goes to the Broncos. Love that. My guy, Jalen Royals, huge fan of his game. Yes, my wide receiver 4 in the class, goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I could, as much as I love George Pickens, I think I could see him becoming the guy there. Trey Harris to the Texans. Nice landing spot. Alec to the Commanders. Another great landing spot. Jaden Higgins to the Chiefs. And round 3, your Giants get Quinshawn Judkins. Tracy owners won't like that, but it's a possibility. Cameron Scadaboo goes to the Bears. Isaiah Bond, who did declare, wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if Isaiah Bond was going to declare or not. I will say this again and again and again, the most difficult prospect in this class to evaluate by far, because if you watch the film, I mean, the speed is out of this world. He's such a good, advanced, high IQ route runner, but There was some talks about some sort of disagreements between him and Nick Saban, and there was talks about maybe them clashing heads. Then he goes to Texas, has had one game his entire career over 100 receiving yards. It's like about under 2% of his entire career games under 100 receiving yards or over 100 receiving yards. It's like, what do you do with this guy? Then Tez Johnson goes to the Panthers. We see Mason Taylor to the Colts, Dylan Sampson to the Bengals. And yes, the Chase Brown stands are not going to like that one. DJ Giddens to the Steelers. I love myself some DJ Giddens, so I like that. Xavier Restrepo to the Bucks. Really don't like this pick. Really don't like it. I mean, I love the player, but I just, obviously, I'm, the biggest Jalen McMillan stand last year, so I don't love how it works. Jalen Knoll to the Jags, which I do love. Savion Williams to the Eagles. Jack Besh, my guy, to the Jets. Terrence Ferguson to the Rams. Then in round 4, where Jackson Dart goes to the Titans. Gunnar Helm to the Jets. Then we see Nick Nash to the Cardinals. Quinn Ewers, who did declare. Again, don't understand why he declared, but he did. He's going to the Dolphins, excuse me. Jeez. Torrey Horton goes to the Broncos. Woody Marks to the Packers. So intern Sammy said, you know what? I'm going to bury Woody Marks for you, Zach. Let me do that. Devin Neal to the Chargers. He could have put Woody just the next pick, but Devin Neal to the Chargers. Jarquez Hunter, who I love. Thank you, intern Sammy. I'm glad we're finally talking about Jarquez Hunter, the most underrated running back in the class. A pack-a-punch kid. Caden Prather to the Ravens. Luke Lachey to the Steelers or Saints. Pat Bryant is a Bill. RJ Harvey, like that spot, to the Chiefs. Ty Felton to the Giants. Dylan Gabriel to the Seahawks. Into round 5. Last round we'll look at together. Oradon goes to the Patriots. Jordan James to the Commanders. That's sneaky. Love Jordan James. Antoine Wells to the Cowboys. Kobe Hudson to the Dolphins. Damian Martinez to the Colts. Ja'Cory Brooks to the Bengals. And Ricky White to the Chargers. Will Howard goes to the Steelers. And, a bunch of other guys. Ollie Gordon goes to the Ravens at the end of the 5th round. Kyron Lacey. It's funny we put Kyron Lacey in here because he's actually headed to jail. But yeah, if you guys want to look at the rest of this mock draft, I will put it in the chat one more time.
He's donezo, brother. He's just gone.
Yeah, that man's not playing in the NFL. But you can check out the pinned comment and or the comment section and the description if you want to refer to the mock draft. But let's go ahead and get this thing started. This is a 12-team Superflex PPR tight end premium mock draft. Let's get this thing rocking here in 3, 2, 1. All you need to do is draft a kicker and then tell me in the sleeper chat who that is. 7 says Zach loving life with both the Commanders and Chiefs advancing. Sorry, Badaki, at least you have Neighbors. Which, yeah, at least, hey, Neighbors is a fun person to build around for you guys.
That's right. He's amazing. I love that guy.
What are you thinking here at the 101?
I put in the sleeper chat.
Okay. So at the 101, I'm not even going to look. I'm just going to assume that Ashton Genty's coming off the board.
Now, he goes to the Dallas Cowboys in the 1st round.
Yeah.
Not what we want to see as NFC East supporters, but it is one of the best landing spots for Ashton Genty going in the 12th overall pick. Obviously, I would love to see him go to a different team. But it's hard to see him falling outside of that, unless the Bears take him and says, thank you for your service, DeAndre Swift, or maybe the Raiders take him at 6 if Shador and Cam are off the board.
What was interesting is Dane had him falling pick 20 to the Broncos. But, I mean, you look at, even pick 10 with the Bears, I think they could.
Yeah, I think they can.
They could go Genty, for sure.
I think the Raiders can. I don't want to say the Jags can't, but 5 is look.
That'd be surprising.
That would be surprising. But I wouldn't be like it's out of this world.
I mean, maybe Ben Johnson is hired and they decide, you know what, let's get Ashton Genty. And, it worked out for the Lions. Let's take a running back in the 1st round.
Yeah, exactly. That would be crazy. But I think if he falls past the Cowboys. If Ashton Genty is there for the Cowboys and he falls past the Cowboys, what are you doing, Jerry? What are you doing?
Yeah, the Cowboys cannot let him fall past them. It will be an all-time meltdown from this franchise.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally all time. Okay, so Ashton Genty, number 1. At the 102, Tet McMillan comes off the board. Well worthy of the 102. I think the 102 is a huge tier, but he went to the Patriots, and I think that landing spot in particular would be, I think, most people's favorite, considering the options. You know, again, you look at all the options here. If he doesn't go to the Patriots, where does he fall that people are in love with? I mean, I guess you can paint the picture for the Panthers because of role, but it gets quite messy if he falls much further. So I think ideally this is where most of the Dynasty community wants to see him go, and that's because we all believe in Drake May, right? So
yeah.
So Tet comes off the board at the 102. Very good player in his own right. Then we see Luther Burden come off the board at the 103. Yes, Luther Burden is my wide receiver 1 right now at this point of the process, but it is a tier alongside of Tet. I don't mind which way you lean. Whatever tickles your pickle. I just think both are great prospects, and I think there is a lot of context that needs to be taken into account when considering Luther Burden, the prospect. I have no doubt he's going to be a first-round pick and make an impact as a rookie, but you can say that for both of them. What's up, Albert? Welcome in, my man.
Happening?
All right, I am on the clock here, and for me, this is a no-brainer. First-round draft capital to maybe one of our most ideal landing spots. I mean, if this isn't top 3 landing spot, it has to be, right? Caleb Johnson's going to come off the board for me. I love Caleb Johnson, man. I cannot say more positive things about him. Now, is he a perfect prospect? No, right? I mean, there's very, very rarely do you have a Bijan Robinson, Ashton Genty level prospect that you're able to draft, you know, for your team. But is he a player that can absolutely be a number 1 workhorse for an NFL team? 100%, I think that's the case. He'll be 21 years during the NFL draft. His analytics are out of this world. I mean, at least by the time when I scouted them, this is where he stood. 6th in yards per attempt at 7.1. He was 4th in yards after contact per attempt. He was 1st in breakaway percentage. So he had these home run hitting plays. I think his burst, like his conviction hitting the edge at his size, again, because remember, he is 6 foot 225. Now we'll get official measurements soon, but the conviction he hits the edge with is insane. I mean, literally like pops out of the pocket like a rocket outside. It's very impressive. He's a power mover, strength through contact. And one of my favorite things to tell people is about the offense for Iowa. In 2022, their offense ranked 117th. In 2023, their offense ranked 130th, and this is points per game. And then Caleb Johnson comes out of nowhere. In 2024, they are 51st. They go to 28 points per game. They hadn't averaged over 20 in any year in recent memory. So he, by himself, pretty much made this offense, you know, a huge turnaround. 20 touchdowns, was the focal point week in, week out. I think there's a lot of Larry Johnson to his game. If you guys want to go back, you remember Larry Johnson from the Kansas City Chiefs. I see so much Larry Johnson and Caleb Johnson. Maybe they're brothers, probably not. But a lot of guys named Johnson, right? But, I mean, I think there's so much about his game that we should be in love with personally. So I'll take him off the board there. Love the draft capital. And then, yeah, again, you consider draft capital on its own. Do you want to know the hit rate for a first-round running back? Because I'll tell you, it's 86%. 86% hit rate for a first-round running back. So, yeah,
Love that.
I'll take Caleb off the board there. Sorry, that was a little spiel, but yeah.
Nice little spiel there. At the 105, G Money, first quarterback off the board.
Okay.
Going with the New York Football Giant, Cam Ward pairing up there with Malik Neighbors.
Terrible
Tyrone
pick.
Tracy.
I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. I'm joking. Keep going.
But yes, Cam Ward going to the third pick here at the 106 to the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably, of all the teams, the most ideal spot for, like, the teams who are in position to draft a quarterback, right? Like the Browns, you know, the Titans. I think probably the preferred landing spot would be your Giants if you guys can figure out your offensive line. But to have Malik Neighbors from day one, it's very enticing, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah. No, for sure. Actually, offensive line is good. We just, once again, struggle with injuries. It's just the right tackle now. We need to figure that out. But yes, look, I think he has the highest upside. I said it earlier. Just give me somebody that can make things exciting. And Brian Dable, I mean, he did it with the 1 year with Daniel Jones. How much more can he do after that?
Yeah.
If Daniel Jones can't figure it out. But they're here for another year. He's gonna grow with them. That's what I'm hoping for. But if not, and if they take Shador, I'm okay. Anyways, continue.
Jacob said, would you have taken Caleb over Luther with that landing spot? As much as I love Luther Burden, yes, I would have. Like I've said this many times, but my 102 to 107 is all one big tier right now. And considering the draft capital, the hit rate, the landing spot, the player that I love, I probably would. I mean, I don't think it's crazy to say Caleb was worthy of being the 102 if this is how it were to pan out. I'm not saying he should be, but I don't see why he wouldn't be in that conversation as a 102. Like, strong consideration right there with Tet McMillan for me. So yes, Cam Ward did come off the board. Then we have Shador Sanders, who, you know, there are a lot of strengths in his game, but I think there's some clear weaknesses. People like to compare him to Joe Burrow, and I'm not sure what film they're watching that I'm not, because this is more Tua Tagovailoa than it is Joe Burrow. I mean, the arm strength is not the same. We're not in the same category when we're talking arm strength. Accurate, lethal accuracy, love it, but there's not that zip on the ball that you want to see from a top 5 overall pick at the quarterback position. So curious to see how game speed in the NFL changes that. And I also think both the quarterbacks, they just hold on to the ball way too much, man. Like, both Cam Ward and Shador Sanders, their time to throw is ridiculously high. They are causing a lot of issues in their own offenses. There are open players. They're holding the ball a little bit too long. That can be coached out of them. So yeah, it's just, it'll be interesting to see what happens. Shador went to the Raiders. You think about Brock Bowers being there, right?
That'd be nice.
So it's, and Brock Bowers and Sanders, like the perfect connection there, you know? So yeah. All right, so Sanders comes off the board. Then at the 107, who do we have, Badaki, coming up?
Omarion.
I purposely allowed you to say that because I know you love singing it.
Yeah, I just love saying it. He goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, Style loves Amari. I think it's a lock. I think so far, ever since Styles became the intern here, or Stacks, excuse me.
Sammy.
Yeah. Sammy Stacks.
Yeah, we have to say Sammy Stacks because our editor's name is Sammy.
Yeah.
So we actually do have to say Sammy Stacks.
Sammy Stacks. That's why I got confused for a second. Anyways, it's going to the Raiders every single time. And I
early
love
second round.
So not only does Shador Sanders go to the Las Vegas Raiders and have Brock Bowers with Jacoby Myers, but he gets Omarion Hampton as well.
Yeah. And I love this pick. Like, to me, I personally believe I would take Hampton over these quarterbacks pretty easily. Given their, and again, you know, you take a shot on a first round guy. I get the upside case for like a super flex format. I totally get why people say that. But for me, given my concerns around the quarterback class, and you don't have to trust me, it's just I'm going to follow my own process. And I just think that these running backs are much safer picks given the landing spots they're in, the draft capital they're receiving, and who they are as prospects. Love Omarion Hampton. There's a ton of James Conner to his game. I can't stop seeing James Conner, but I think he's got better long run speed. Like, when you watch him, you go back and you double, because you write down all your notes. You're like, wait, is this guy 220 pounds? Let me go double check that. It's almost like how you felt when you're watching Trey Benson, but he's a more complete prospect than Trey Benson was. Yeah. So Omarion Hampton does come off the board. Appreciate everybody for being here. We appreciate y'all hanging out. We love having these conversations. Just a little update. We do have a like goal today of 150 likes, and we're almost halfway there, which is absolutely incredible. You guys are awesome. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the support. If we reach that goal, we will pop off a second mock draft. We'll get a whole new group of people in here, so we'll keep having some fun, keeping the ball rolling. So be a friend, smash that like button, and also, we don't often ask for this, but go ahead and subscribe as well, because I can tell you guys, we are currently, let me get a little updated number. We are 19 subscribers away from 17K.
Appreciate you guys.
19 subs away from 17,000 subscribers. Appreciate you guys so much. Appreciate the love. It means a lot.
Yeah.
All right, who was the next pick, Badaki? Right after Omarion Hampton.
Yeah, Omarion, and then after Omarion, we see Travion Henderson, who we both like here at the 108. And Travion goes to the Denver Broncos, which I actually really love. I love this landing spot. I think any running back that does go to the Denver Broncos in the first 2 rounds, potentially, I think is set for a tremendous workload there. I mean, obviously, Aldrick
Yeah,
Esime
there's no
and
one.
Javonte Williams. Yeah.
Javonte's a
Well,
free agent as well.
yeah, with all due respect, it's just not happening over there for some of these guys. It will be the highest running back that I would say Sean Payton has drafted within the Denver Broncos system. So I think that's also a pretty
Yeah.
big thing as well. So Travion Henderson, I love here.
And also,
he was my RB1 last year
Yeah,
before
we loved him.
the 2024 or he decided to go back to school.
Yeah, wherever you have your RB2, Trayvon Henderson needs to be in the same tier, is how I view it. Like, if he's not your RB2, he's not for me, but he needs to be in that same tier. He needs to be in consideration, right? In my humble opinion. But Travion comes off the board. And one thing we have to consider, again, in this scenario, Trayvon Henderson does become a Denver Bronco. All right, so let me have a look here. He goes round 2 to the Denver Broncos. And just because we haven't seen it in the Denver era yet where like one running back has been really fantasy relevant doesn't mean it's not possible, because let's think through this logically. I mean, Sean Payton in New Orleans, huge long history of really relevant fantasy running backs. He just hasn't had his guy. And clearly when he drafted Bo Nix, everyone laughed at it. You and I, Badaki, we didn't laugh at him, but everybody else on Twitter laughed at him. We said, well, it's his guy. This is one of those quarterbacks where if he gets something in his mind and he knows how he's going to outwork it, you're just going to trust this head coach. Is what I meant to say, head coach. So, I like the pick a lot, and he has a lot of skill sets that we've seen Sean Payton use in the past for very relevant fantasy running backs. So I like the pick a lot. All right, Trayvon Henderson off the board. At the 109, we have
Colston Loveland, and he goes to the Los Angeles Chargers, if I'm not mistaken, in the first round.
Yeah. This is every
is
mock
great.
draft you're seeing. This is where Colson's landing, and it makes a lot of sense for so many reasons.
Going back with his coach there, it just makes sense. And this obviously we saw a little uptick in that tight end position there for the Los Angeles Chargers, and Colston coming in, becoming another weapon there with Lamb McConkey, QJ, and then maybe a running back that they do draft later on in this draft potentially, and then Colston Loveland, which is really exciting.
Yeah, and you mentioned Will Disley being relevant tight end, but outside of Lab McConkey, there's just no reliable pass catcher. And what I love about Colston Loveland, why he's my tight end 1, is because assuming he's getting first round draft capital, and if he does, it won't be because of what he offers you in the run game as a blocker. It'll be because you are going to trust him to be a crucial part of your passing offense. Now, Tyler Warren's a complete tight end. If I was an NFL GM, Tyler Warren would be my tight end 1 in the class. But that's not my purpose for what we play, the game that we play, right? I want the tight end who I think can go out there and earn 100 targets in year 1. And it's not to say that Tyler Warren couldn't, right? Depends on landing spot, depends on a lot. But he's such a good blocker. He does a lot of things so well that it just makes me fall in love with Colston Loveland a little bit more, because this is truly a wide receiver playing the tight end position, but he has the body of a tight end, and he runs legitimate routes. I mean, it's really fun to watch. So I love this landing spot a lot. All right, talk us through the 110. Who do we have coming off the board here?
Yeah, and then we just have 2 back-to-back. Tyler Warren then does go at the 110. He goes to the Denver Broncos. I mean, Tyler Warren, Travion Henderson, Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin. These are 2 weapons in the first 2 rounds for the Denver Broncos. You got your quarterback in Bo Nix last year, surrounding him with weapons. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to see how there's going to be no excuses for Bo Nix next year, adding Tyler Warren, who is just going to be a threat in the passing game. So
yeah, I originally, when I scouted Tyler Warren, I compared him to Taysom Hill, and people really didn't like it. They were like, what? You can't say he's Taysom Hill. Look at his reception profile. I get it, but this is the perfect landing spot for this player. The versatility that Tyler Warren has does mirror the versatility that Taysom Hill had all those days in New Orleans with Sean Payton. So for him to go back with Sean Payton, that's exciting to think about how he might be used in all those different ways. Does he have a goal line role? All right. He played quarterback a little bit before going to the tight end position. Do they put him in the Wildcat? Do they let him play quarterback? The Taysom Hill role in itself, I think Tyler Warren is somewhere a mix between a Taysom Hill and a Trey McBride. like somewhere in between there, you have a Tyler Warren. So I really, really love that landing spot a lot.
Yeah, I completely agree there.
At the 111.
Your boy. Not your boy. Well, somebody that you're going to have to scout. I know you still have to scout him. Alec A. Manor going to your Washington Commanders here.
Mm-hmm.
And Sammy Sachs says Jaden's future wide receiver 1. And maybe, because obviously Terry has maybe, 2 to 3 more years on that contract. Maybe he becomes a decent wide receiver 2 here for this offense. He goes in the late second to your Washington Commanders here. So I don't mind this landing spot. You guys need some more weapons as well.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't scouted Alec yet, so I can't really say that I don't like the pick. But what I will say is with a lot of other names on the board that I know that I love, as well as like the landing spot, the draft capital, them as a player, it feels a little early to me. But I mean, Sammy's a genius. We all know that. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know, man. Felt a little early to me, considering the other players that were available
are on the board. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, one of those names I definitely would have drafted over him comes off the board with the last pick in the first round. That is Quinshon Judkins. And Judkins comes off the board. He's going to be a great discount. For some reason, like, I talk so highly on Travion and I prefer him. So for a lot of people in their mind, I don't like Judkins, but I do. I really do like Quinshon Judkins. My comp for him is like Kareem Hunt. I like a young Kareem Hunt. I see a lot of that. Maybe I think Kareem might be a little more explosive, might offer you a little bit more like home run hitting type of plays. But David Montgomery as well, like a David Montgomery out of Iowa State, Kareem Hunt, I think out of Toledo, like those guys coming out is kind of what I see from him. So, and then we see him go to your Giants in the third round, early third round, which, like, for your NFL team, this makes a ton of sense because Judkins and Tracy would be perfect complements to each other.
100%.
But I don't know about fantasy, how much I'd love that. But
no, for fantasy, it's not ideal. For the team in general, I think this is good because it's a long-term answer. Devin Singletary's only on a 1-year deal. Obviously, Tyrone Tracy had a great breakout last year. It's just going to be a 1-2 punch, hopefully. This is how I'm seeing it. Some way, some manner, because Tyrone can run routes as well. You got to keep that in mind. Wide receiver turning running back. So we kind of saw that a little bit in that run game or in that pass game last year as well.
All right, I got to ask the question. Y'all know we do this every time we do a mock draft. Who was the best value in round 1? Who do you think? Of all the picks made, who was the absolute best value? What do you think? Let us know in the comment section. And Badaki, who do you think is the best value here on the board of all these picks that we've seen?
For me, this is actually a pretty good draft right now.
It feels like nothing insane. I mean, the Alec feels high, but nothing feels...
Yeah, nothing is insane right now, personally. I feel like everyone went exactly where they needed to. Yes, maybe outside of Alec. If I had to choose one, maybe nitpicking. Gosh.
It's pretty damn...
I actually don't have one. Actually, I think this is a pretty good first round.
Yeah. Let's see what the chat says. Let's see. So we've got a couple people saying Trayvon Henderson or Caleb. We've got a couple people, a lot of people saying Hampton. You got a place in the Hamptons? Hampton for sure, for shizzle. All right, I shouldn't have said that. That's actually disgusting.
What's going on here?
Please, let's remove this stream. I'm ending the stream now. We've got a couple people saying Warren. Deontay Johnson is the best value, according to Alex, which you'd love to see.
He got picked up again, not with the Ravens, hey?
That's hilarious, dude. I will. That is the funniest move I've seen from an NFL team in a long time, but it makes sense. They get a comp pick. So, all right. Ollie Gordon has not been drafted, so he can't be the best value in round 1 yet, right? Nick says the masculine urge to draft Marion and make my team Magic in the Hamptons. All right, we're gonna move on from that. By the way, another funny one from Nick J. Whoever Nick J is, you're welcome in the stream every time we're live, because earlier he said Drake May got engaged today. It should have been me. Whoever you are, absolutely incredible. But let's
Dude.
go ahead and continue into round number 2. You are first on the clock.
I am the
Now,
father.
a little update on our like goal. We're only about 50 likes away from 150, which is our goal. If we reach 150, we will do a second mock draft with you guys. So do us a favor, be a friend, smash that like button. There's over 200 of you watching. The math checks out. We should be able to get there. With your help, I know we can do it. Who are you taking here at the 201?
I think the best value here personally is Emeka Mbuka. He goes to the Tennessee Titans in the early second round. Now, yes, it's probably not ideal because you're probably saying who's throwing him the ball? Is it Will Levis? Do they go out and get a quarterback in free agency? Is that Kirk Cousins maybe? Whatever the case may be, all I do know is that Emeka Mbuka will still produce, at least hope, maybe not in year 1, but maybe in year 2.
Yeah.
Behind Calvin Ridley, probably be a wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver 2, or high end wide receiver 2, excuse me. So I like this landing spot, even though the quarterback is in question.
Yeah. Calvin Ridley, I think will be 30 this year. Still a good player, but not like, with all due respect to Calvin, he's not like this level of player where you don't see a future where Egbuka can become the number 1 on target. Like in a way, it's almost like JSN with DK, but to a way less concerning extent for Egbuka. So I like the landing spot, and I like the player. I think he's one of the safest picks in the entirety of Dynasty rookie drafts this year. Like of any position, of any player, I think he's one of the safest picks. Now, I don't think he retains the same upside that some of these other guys do, but I absolutely love that pick there. I think it makes a ton of sense. And we'll see what the 202 is going to do here with its Zoko. By the way, Sammy says we're a bunch of haters. I haven't watched Alec yet, so I can't say too much about it, but yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. He's on the list to scout today. But do we have a pick from It's Zoko? Are you there, brother? Would love to have this pick in so we can talk about it. But I'll just keep talking about Emeka Egbuka. Here's what I will say. My comps for him were Robert Woods. Saw a lot of Robert Woods, which if you guys... there's only like 100 people who listened to us when we first started on that podcast. But do you remember every time we talked about Robert Woods, you would like sing it or something?
Yeah, Roberto Woods, yeah. Roberto Woods. And I used to say it all the time, and people used to love it.
Yeah,
and that was when he was the wide receiver 2 in LA before Puka Nacua and the whole thing.
Yeah, I see a lot of Robert Woods, LA Robert Woods, a little young Juju Smith-Schuster to his game. Pretty decent after the catch. I think there's a little Chris Godwin there as well. And I'm a big fan of his game. All right, I'm assuming it's Zoko has just gone to sleep.
Someone's typing here, so maybe it is Zoko. Okay.
I think he's just going to sleep. So this is going to be the people's pick. And I will represent the people. What do we want to do here, actually, guys? What do we want to do here?
I just say we go best available player. Well, not best available player. We can go Jalen Milroe, who's available.
I think it's too high to grab him. But...
Matthew Golden. He went to the Saints.
Let's do that. Let's grab Matthew Golden.
He went early second. Or Harold Fannin. He went to the Dolphins as well.
We're going to grab Matthew Golden here. He went to the Saints in round 2. It was early round 2. Perfect complementary piece to Chris Olave. Now, quarterback play isn't great, so it's the same conversation we've had with Chris Olave for a long time, but I like the player a lot, so I think that makes a ton of sense. Matthew Golden off the board as Evie is on the board right now, and at least with Matthew, he was consistent. Like week in, week out, he is producing for this team. He's making big plays, and he's there, and he's available, and we couldn't say that about his teammate, Isaiah Bond, unfortunately. At the 203, wow. Just
there he goes.
Absolute sniper. Jalen Royals comes off the board, and Evie decides to break my heart. I was eyeing him up, waiting for him. I was so excited to talk about how I made the best pick. I love Jalen Royals. I cannot get enough of Jalen Royals. My wide receiver 4 in the class, right ahead of Egbuka. It's not a diss on Egbuka. It's just true love for Jalen Royals, the player.
Where did Dane put him? Or did he not have him in the first round?
That's a good question. I actually don't remember if Dane put Jalen Royals in his mock or not. I don't actually know. But I'm obsessed with Jalen. Like, honestly, I cannot say more positive things about Jalen Royals. I think the reason there's not more hype is because he played in the Mountain West and he had an injury this year. So he played in the Mountain West and then he only played 7 games. But if you look at his like full season, he was on track to have over 1,500 receiving yards, almost 100 receptions, and I think like 15 touchdowns or something crazy like that. Like, he was on track to have a truly incredible season. And the film is he might be the best yak threat in this class. And that's saying a lot because Luther freaking Burden is an absolute dog after the catch. Like, he is special. He is one of these special monster alien after the catch type of players. But Jalen Royal, like, after the catch is special. And I actually love that Ferris said Rashee Rice because that was one of my comps. But I almost compared him to like Rashee Rice in a hybrid of also George Pickens because he can play outside as well. He's got pretty good versatility. He's a great catcher of the football. You know, great ball skills. He can play outside. So that's kind of like my hybrid between them two. It's not a diss on Igbuka. If you can hear what I'm saying without being irrational, it's not a diss on Igbuka. But of course, you guys have to take it there. Okay, let's pull up this mock draft because I am on the board here. Jalen Royals would have been my pick pretty easily there, but now we're gonna have to refocus a little bit and consider draft capital. Yeah, I mean, I do like this player. Like, thinking about this player in this role is really enticing. I need to look through all my options, but I mean, there's so many great options on the board right now. Yeah, I'm gonna go Harold here. I'm gonna draft Harold Fannin. I have become obsessed with this landing spot, with him going to the Dolphins and essentially being the Jonnu Smith of the future for that team, with the amount of question marks and uncertainty around Tyreek Hill's future. Harold, I'm assuming if they draft him this early, this is great draft capital for him. I'm assuming if they draft him this early, they view him as like an important part of their receiving attack of the future. So yeah, I'll take him there. I'm a huge fan of his game. I think he's more of a wide receiver than a tight end. I don't think he's a good run blocker. I don't care what PFF's run blocking grade was on him. But again, as a true receiving threat, my comp for him was actually Jonnu Smith, if I'm not mistaken.
Smith.
I'll have to go back
it is
and double
interesting.
check, but
it is interesting with Harold.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith was one of my comps. So yeah, big fan of his game.
Love that. Love Harold to the Miami Dolphins. G Money here takes Trey Harris.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Landing spot's really nice.
Yeah, Trey goes to the Houston Texans in the late second round, which is interesting. Obviously, Stephon Diggs tore his ACL, and Tank Dell knee exploded in so many different ways.
Yeah.
What is that going to look like? Obviously, Xavier Hutchinson is not stepping up to the plate. Roberto Woods is there. They need another guy, maybe just for next year, if they don't bring back Stephon Diggs. So Trey Harris could easily step up into that wide receiver 2 role, specifically for the 2025 role or season. And then maybe he's established himself there for that year.
Yeah. And also, obviously, Diggs isn't even on the team next year. He doesn't have a contract. So there's a clear need for number 2, you know? So I like it a lot. I mean, Trey Harris doesn't complement Nico Collins at all, though. Like, Trey's an outside big body who I guess you could put him in the slot, but I don't really see that being a part of his game. So he doesn't really complement Nico Collins at all. That part I don't like, but I do love the landing spot as far as need there because there's definitely like a very, very clear need.
Yeah.
All right. What's the 206 here?
At the 206, Dylan Sampson. And this is a sneaky one here from Sammy Stacks. Dylan Sampson goes to the Cincinnati Bengals in the 3rd round. So the Bengals don't get a running back in the 1st or 2nd round, but they get one in the 3rd round, and it's really not ideal for Chase Brown.
No.
Because of the capital, in my personal opinion, and the type of talent that Dylan is.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I definitely think Dylan and Chase complement each other. I'd have no idea because I really think Dylan's a great player. I have no idea who would win that job. Like literally, I have no idea who ends up winning that job. The landing spots for today's mock draft I'll put in the sleeper or in the YouTube chat. It's also in the description for you guys. But
yeah.
At the 207, DJ Giddens comes off the board, and I believe he was another third-round pick to the Steelers, right?
The Steelers, yeah, which is also a great pick. It was just 2 picks after Dylan Sampson there, and obviously with Najee Harris most likely walking this year, Jaylen Warren is there. DJ can easily step up to the plate here, which is
they need a running back this cycle. They just need one. And DJ, I see a ton of Tony Pollard to his game. Super explosive player, really creative as well. I'm a huge fan of his game.
Oh my dude, I was watching his film the other day. I'm going through the second half of running backs for me, and every single run he's doing, he's cutting. Jump cut.
Yeah, nasty jump
right.
cut.
To the right.
It's funny because like he actually reminds me a ton of Devin Neal, who comes off the board next for team number 8. I actually think their games, I'm not going to say like similar, but there are shades of that creativity they both have. Like the ability to jump cut, find a different lane, and then break your ankles, send you to the hospital. Both of these guys are really creative. Watching their game is like, it's like an art piece, you know? It's like performative art watching them in the open field. It's really, really fun to watch. And I love both of these guys. Devin Neal, where did he land? Round what?
He went to Los Angeles Chargers in the 4th round.
How can you not fall in love with that? You know,
I mean, 100%. This is phenomenal. This is a guy that can easily. I mean, this makes me believe that he'll be more the pass catching guy, and they keep J.K. Dobbins maybe on a 2-year deal.
Devin's a good pass catcher. But yeah, it would be difficult to say exactly what the roles would look like. I mean. Mm-hmm. You also have to ask the question, like, it's been a while for JK, and he is looking good after that injury, but he is kind of pioneering right now for running backs with Achilles injuries. And we have seen running backs come back from the injury, and they've had a good stint, and then they've fallen off. So I wouldn't be someone to worry about J.K. Dobbins long-term, personally. Like, I would see that as like this guy can easily win the job long term.
No question.
Yeah.
It's just more like maybe in year 1 it's probably still hindered because of J.K. Dobbins, or maybe this year he gets a 2-year contract extension because they love what he did last year.
Yeah.
And then Devin Neal does take over that backfield. But yeah, I get what you're saying there. All right, at the 209, we see Isaiah Bond.
Yeah.
And James Bond. He goes to the Las Vegas Raiders in the 3rd round. So Shedeur Sanders gets Omarion and Isaiah Bond with Brock Bowers, Jacoby Myers there. I mean, the Raiders are just going back to back offensive weapons here to build around Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, the most difficult player to value in this class because if I were to just give you 3 all-22 films to watch, you'd be like, this guy's incredible. And if that's the only thing that you judged these players off, you'd be like, I think this guy can be a star. But there's just so many outside factors where you can't understand. It's like a puzzle you're trying to put together, but it's a puzzle that's been hiding in your grandma's basement for like 40 years, and there's like 4 pieces missing. And you're like, Grandma, where do these pieces go? She's like, I don't know. It was in the Great War. You know, like you can't figure out exactly how to put the pieces together for this prospect. But I really do love him for sure. But after Isaiah Bond comes off the board, we do get Jalen Milroe. And, you know, I've said it many times. I'll say it before. I say it again. Like, if you are going to take a shot on a quarterback who's not drafted in round 1 in a rookie draft, better have some damn rushing upside. And Jalen Milroe has that in strides. He can be an incredible, you know, rushing quarterback for the NFL. Definitely has all the physical traits, physical tools, but a long way to go as an actual quarterback. It's not that different to the Anthony Richardson project.
Yeah, I mean, no question about it. You just you just gotta hope you hit there. Really, you just gotta hope you hit.
Yeah. Sorry, I just saw the comment that you laughed at.
Yeah.
As well.
At the 211, Cam Scatterboot.
Yeah, I like it.
He goes to the Chicago Bears, if I'm not mistaken, in the 3rd round. Let me just triple check that. Yeah,
That's
in the 3rd round.
Instantly takes over the 1st and 2nd down role from Swift. Instantly.
Yeah, and then Swift is just the pass catching guy there, I'm assuming, in that offense.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
All right, after Cam Scatterbo, the 212, and then we're going to ask you guys who you think the best value is. But at the 212, one of my favorite receivers who's not getting enough love is Tez Johnson. And Tez, I believe, went to the Panthers round 3. Is that right?
That's correct.
So went to the Panthers round 3. I like it. I mean, there's an opening here. I mean, I love Jalen Coker, but there's an opening here for someone to step up and be a reliable receiving threat for Bryce Young. Jalen Coker can be that if he can stay healthy, if he can stay on track with what he's doing in his young career. But Tez Johnson, all the guy did was produce. All the guy did was produce. Doesn't matter what quarterback was there. He went out there and put up numbers. If you look at the 2024 wide receiver class, which is historic, we all love, there's only one player in that class that had a higher yards per route run than Tez Johnson. I mean, the guy was off the charts good. Such a good dynamic threat after the catch. Can definitely stretch the field as a vertical threat. Can play out of the slot. There's a little Tank Dell there. I mean, he's Walmart Tank Dell in my mind, but it's not meant disrespectfully. It's meant respectfully. I'm a big fan of that guy. But who do we think, guys, is the best value in round 2? You know, if running backs get this type of draft capital, I actually don't think this class is as bad as we're making it out to be. Like, if running backs truly get the type of landing spots and draft capital that we're seeing here in this mock draft today, for example, like, this class has a chance to be a little bit better than we're making it out to be. I mean, you have potential starting running backs in the mid-second round, given the way this mock is panned out. So, anyway, who do you guys think is the best value here in round 2? I'll let you talk about that Badaki as well, because I'm going to go pee.
Yeah. Look, for me, there's 2 guys. I see Cam, who I thought was great value. I was getting excited. I thought he was going to fall to me at the 3-1 there. And then even though it's a project, I have to say Jalen Milroe. Obviously, this is a super flex mock draft. And if you can get a guy that goes, the 33rd overall pick to the Browns, who does have weapons in David Njoku and Jerry Jeudy, obviously with an offense that is suitable to run, and he can make everything click, it just makes sense. I know it's not exciting, but for me, it will be Cam Scatterboot and Jalen Milroe here. But a lot of people are saying I see Mbuka, Milroe, Scatterboot at the 11 and the RB9 off the board. With the starting role in Chicago, new coach Caleb, best value by far. Yeah, I mean, like, I have to agree. I think it's great. Says I like him more, but I can see either side of Jalen knows. Yeah, I think all these guys. I mean, Giddens is a nice one as well. Obviously, he goes to, if I'm not mistaken, the Steelers. So I like all these guys. I think this is another round where it's almost really fairly even. I think Cam could have gotten a little bit higher, maybe 2 spots higher, where over Milroe and Bond. But it just feels comfortable with all those guys there.
Yeah, I mean, if Milroe hits, easily he'll be the best value. But hard to not look at Giddens and Neal and pick one of those, or Cam, just because the upside is for them to be starters. And if you hit on a starting running back with the 206 or the 211 or whatever, like that's going to really change your dynasty team for sure. All right, so let's get into the 3rd round. Friendly reminder, we do have a like goal today of 150. And if we reach that like goal, we'll do a second mock draft. And I'm happy to tell you that the updated count is 137. So we are 13 likes away from our goal, which is 150. If we reach that goal together, we'll pop off a second mock draft for you. And I can also inform you that we are currently 12 subscribers away. 12 subscribers away from 17K. So if you're out there, you've been lurking for a while, maybe now's the time you can subscribe. Help us reach 17,000 subscribers. Absolutely incredible. We appreciate you guys. Let's get into round 3 here. Let's do more of a quick fire for round 3. I'm going to say quick fire round 3. Take a kicker and just send your player. All right, let's do a quick fire here. Not as much time and detail. Yeah.
I'll go Xavier Restrepo here. He goes to the Bucks in the 3rd round.
Okay. Yeah.
But that's the last guy I feel, one of the couple guys that I feel comfortable with taking there.
All right, Xavier Restrepo off the board in the 3rd round to the Bucks. I do like this player. Not obsessed with the landing spot. Just considering how much of a Jalen McMillan stan I am, but I do think Xavier can produce in almost any offense. I think he's got a really nice skill set to kind of produce from day one. So I like that pick a lot. Have you watched any of Restrepo yet? Have you had a chance to?
I have. I like him. He's look, I don't think he's going to be like a superstar, but I think he could be a decent wide receiver too. Like I like what I saw.
Yeah.
Just, I think he's a nice little slot or outside wide receiver. I mean, he's a small body guy, kind of.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just a technician, really. Absolute technician of his craft. I'm assuming Zoko is not with us still. I'm just going to go ahead and assume. Remember what happened last draft? So let's go ahead and make the pick for him. And do I want to give the player that I love or just wait to draft him myself? Like, to me, look, I don't love Jaden Higgins as much as I love Jalen Knoll. But 2nd round draft capital to the Kansas City Chiefs in the 3rd round, that feels like a no-brainer, I think, to make that pick there. So we'll take Jaden Higgins off the board. And
I'm scarred. I can't take Chiefs wide receivers anymore.
Why? Rashee Rice just worked out. He was the last one. Oh, I guess Worthy, but you and I weren't very high on that situation.
No. It was Worthy, it was Rashee Rice, and then it was Sky Moore. And then it was
those just weren't good players, and we were wrong on those players. It just takes the right player to change the narrative. But I like Higgins. I'm just not obsessed with him the way other people are yet so far in this process. But all right, so Higgins comes off the board at the 303. Yes, okay. So what Evie just did is saved everyone from hearing me go on a tantrum about how Travis Hunter is somehow still available. So I was going to go ahead and draft him at the 304, but Evie said, you know what, let me save the entire chat from hearing Zach spaz out about Travis Hunter being available in the 3rd round. But yeah, absolutely love the pick. Huge fan of that. Remember in this scenario, he goes to the Browns, right?
He goes to the Browns, 2nd overall pick.
I love Jerry Jeudy, but if he decided to play full-time wide receiver there, he's their number 1 wide receiver from day one. So I like this pick. Of course, no one really knows how to value Travis Hunter, but I've said this before, I'll say it again. The best, and I've been scouting about 5 years now, but I can confidently say, again, I've scouted Jamar Chase, Jefferson, and we did the Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors class, Brian Thomas class, like all the great wide receivers have come out, Garrett Wilson. I have never seen a wide receiver with these kind of ball skills that Travis Hunter has. It's out of this world. It's alien type stuff. The ball skills that Travis Hunter has, never seen it before. The best I've seen since I started scouting. All right, I'm going to be able to take one of my favorite sleepers in this class. His name is Jack Besh. Big shout out to Jack Besh, who comes off the board for me here at the 304. He goes to the Jets, and I can't remember if he got 2nd or 3rd round capital, but he was my 17th ranked player in my rankings, still available.
It was 3rd round.
So yeah, he goes 3rd round to the Jets, which it sounds like they're going to move on from Devontae Adams. I don't think Lazard's in their long-term future. Malachi Corley couldn't make an impact. So I think there's a clear opportunity here. We don't exactly know what the future for Garrett Wilson holds. Like, will he be a Jet? How long? So yeah, I like this pick a lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm biased. I'm a huge fan of him. Just that big body, physical, good route runner who's great after the catch. It's hard not to see Puka Nacua. I know he's not a Puka Nacua level talent, but it's hard not to see that as a comp for him. So, yeah.
I hear you.
All right. At the 305, I think this is where Jalen Knoll comes off the board.
Yeah,
Yes.
he went to the Jacksonville Jags, if I'm not mistaken, in the 3rd round or 4th round.
Third, yeah. I think, again, perfect replacement for Christian Kirk long term. This is Josh Downs, but no one's talking about it. Jalen Knoll. Josh Downs, but no one even wants to recognize it. All right. At the 306, after, almost said Josh Downs, we get RJ Harvey.
He goes to the Chiefs in the 4th round.
Yeah. I mean,
late 4th round.
This guy, in most running back classes, RJ Harvey is worthy of being a 2nd round pick. In not the NFL draft, but like in rookie drafts. In most drafts, he would be worthy of being a 2nd round pick. But because this class is so stacked, there are just certain names who are still very good who are just available so late down the board. So I like that pick a lot. RJ Harvey makes a ton of sense. Put up ridiculous numbers in his career at UCF. Then we have another running back coming off the board, one of my favorites, Woody Marks, who, unfortunately was just buried to the Packers by Sammy Stacks here. But I love the player. Then after that, another player I love, where did Brashard Smith go?
That's what I was looking for. I don't think he was drafted in this one.
Well, I love the respect that our community is showing Brashard Smith. I'm sure I have some part to play in that because I have him ranked ridiculously high. In fact, without considering draft capital, he's currently ranked as my 16th overall player, which I know sounds insane. I'm sure, draft capital is a big part of this, guys. But, yeah, I don't think we saw Brashard Smith get drafted, but I do like showing some love to the player.
Yes, I agree. And then we see Jarquise Hunter at the 309.
I love this guy, man.
I'm trying to see where he went. Jarquise, yeah.
Texans, I think.
He went to the Texans in the 4th round. Yep.
And he would actually be the perfect complement to Joe Mixon. They've really struggled to find like the perfect complement to Joe Mixon. As good as Dameon Pierce can be, he doesn't really fit what they need when Mixon is healthy. Even when Mixon isn't healthy, I'm not sure he's a good fit for that team. So to have Jarquez Hunter there, Dare Ogunbowale had some really relevant games when Mixon was out. I think Hunter can really fill that role, that third down role that Dare Ogunbowale had for that team. And, who knows what Mixon's future looks like. Could this be a Austin Eckler, Melvin Gordon situation? I don't know.
Yep. I hear you.
We get Jordan James next, who, funnily enough, I view these guys very similarly. I rank them very similarly. And I'm a huge fan of Jordan James, his game overall. I definitely don't think he's like a starting running back in the NFL, but he's a very good complementary piece. He goes to the Commanders, which is a situation where, like, honestly, I don't see a scenario where the Commanders don't improve running back this offseason. Brian Robinson has been serviceable, but it's just not good enough anymore. It's just not good enough anymore.
Yeah, with B-Rob, I mean, yeah, it's just he does really well with the compliment with Austin Eckler. When he was on the field, it was like, okay, it was like 1-2 punch. It was really successful with Austin there. Yeah. I felt like, and then he got injured, and it was like, well, try to handle the whole workload.
Right now, we have running backs that are serviceable, but they're not the reason we win games. And I think we'd like to add someone to that backfield that can help us win games. All right, who's at the 211?
Torrey Horton.
Where'd
he go? He went to the Broncos. Oh my gosh, Broncos just taking back to back.
They're going all offense. I mean, to be fair, their defense is pretty good already. I don't have a Torrey Horton graphic, unfortunately, but let's just imagine
that's
him
on.
there.
I put some graphics, which I probably should have mentioned on the drive. Just called live stream graphics. I put Jackson Dart. I fixed Ted, Torrey, and then whichever ones I forget or we don't have, I'll just keep adding it there.
I'll have to look at that afterwards because I don't think I can add it while we're live. But just mentally picture Torrey Horton at the 311. Who's at the 312?
Mason Taylor.
Okay, another name I don't have, but
yeah, he's a tight end. He went to the Colts in the 3rd round.
If you don't know, Jason Taylor's son, the great Jason Taylor's son, So obviously comes from a NFL bloodline and a family of really good athletes. So I like the pick. Hey, shout out to Matthew for the super chat. He says, smash that like for the koalas. Trade in a 12-team tight end premium. Do I trade the 104 plus Jameson crab legs? Is that Winston for Penix? The 104, is that Jameson Crowder?
No, Jameson Crableg Winston for Penix.
Oh, so Jameis Winston in the 104. Yeah, I would take Michael Penix there.
I need a quarterback. I have Tua and Kirk. Much love to you, but yeah.
Yeah,
I'll take Michael Penix anywhere.
Because you got people right now, it's not in my rankings personally, but you have people right now, it's the consensus that Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are like consensus top 5 picks right now. I would have Penix over them pretty easily in my rankings. So to get in for the 104 and kind of a throw in, I think that's pretty easily a smash accept for me.
Yeah, I like the move as well.
All right. We did reach our like goal. In fact, we absolutely smashed through the ceiling of that like goal.
Sometimes you just got to smash, you know?
So shout out to you guys. We will be doing another mock draft. And Badaki, if people want to get in, how can they get into this next mock draft?
Come on, baby. Join our Discord. That link is in the description. I'll put that link in the chat as well. Join our Discord. Go to the Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs. Then go to announcements. That's how you can join each and every mock draft, whether you are watching now or in the future. It is first come, first serve. I will say, if you did join the mock draft, the first one, maybe let somebody else join. And if you can't finish the mock draft, that's okay. There'll be plenty of mock drafts that you can join in the future as well. So don't come in, do one pick, and leave. We would have really appreciate it. And whenever Zach sends me that link, I'll send that to you guys. Once again, Fantasyland tab with the orange footballs under announcements tab, and that's where you can see or get into the mock draft here. So give me a second as I get this up. Let's go in the middle of the pack here.
Blue says he's getting in. You my boy, Blue.
You my boy, Blue. I need to watch that movie again. 3, 2, 1. That link is out.
That's old school, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a solid one, honestly. All right. So as this fills up, remember we're doing the same mock draft as before, right, guys? We're using intern Sammy Stacks mock draft, which is in the description. I'll also put it in the chat for you guys here as well. But yeah, if you want to refresh your memory, just go back to the beginning of the stream where we walked through this. We took a significant amount of time to walk through this, but we won't take that time right here, right now. Okay. Yeah, only 4 rounds. I mean, guys, most people are only going 2 rounds. So I mean, I feel like we're doing the most with what we can right now. We still have 2 spots open at the moment. So let me tag our people. 2 spots available. And we'll get this thing all filled up here pretty quickly, I imagine. And there we go. It is filled up. So here we go. 12 team, same thing. Superflex, PPR. Tight end premium. Let's get this thing going here in 3, 2, 1. As Jelly Boy's on the clock.
Oh, Jelly.
We won't go as in depth of like players this round, just simply because we already did that. This is more just for repetition and for fun to see how things might change. At the 101, Ashton Jeanty, no surprise, comes off the board. He was picked by the Dallas Cowboys with the 12th overall pick. And I agree with Badaki what you said. There's no way they can let Jeanty fall past pick 12 if you're the Dallas Cowboys.
None. There's no way. Which is exciting to see. Ashton Jeanty off the board there, and let's see where the roll goes.
The roll. Come on, babe.
Travion Henderson.
Okay.
With the 2nd overall pick. And Travion Henderson, if I'm not mistaken, he goes to the Denver Broncos. I think my
he
thing
was
just
the
crashed.
108 last time.
Yes, and he goes to the Denver Broncos in the middle of the second round of the NFL draft. So the role really likes this landing spot. Obviously, I kind of spoke it up earlier. Oh, Nick's Travion. There's no really other weapons or running backs to be a threat to Travion with Javonte Williams out. That's interesting.
I do love Henderson. I think he's worthy of the 102 in the right scenario, but you let a round 1 running back. Yeah, you instead of the round 1 running back, you opted for the round 2 guy and Travion Henderson, right? I mean, so I love Henderson, but I think it's a little early given the landing spots we're using today. But again, just my opinion, and that's where the next player goes off the board here. I would find it hard to make a case to not take Caleb over Travion should this scenario play out in real life where Caleb goes first round to the Vikings and Travion goes, second round to the Broncos. Now, look, I mean, if you put Travion in the first round, like, yeah, have your pick at which one you prefer, but the first round hit rate on a running back is like 86%. You cannot miss, so.
Yeah. By the way, Tet went at the 103 and then Caleb went at the 104.
Oh, okay, my bad. Let me move that then. So Tet is actually the 103. Caleb is the 104.
Yeah.
So we'll get that right for you guys.
Let's see who's at the 105. I think Dylan is up.
Let's see here.
He goes, Marion.
So Tet was at the 104. That's my bad. Remember, he went to the Patriots with the 4th overall pick. So he links up with Drake May. Great landing spot for him. Like we said, Caleb at the 104. At the 105, we had Amarion Hampton come off the board. And I love Amarion, so I love the pick. I mean, they desperately need, someone to step up and be this franchise running back for this team. Since they lost Josh Jacobs, they've not been able to replicate that. They've had 3-4 guys they gave an opportunity to this year. It didn't work out. And, I mean, Dylan Lobb had 1 carry, fumbled it. And that was it. At the 106, Luther Burden comes off the board. Big fan of his game. And I think with him going to the Bucks, it makes sense how some people might prefer some of these other running backs. You're on the clock here, though. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'll just take Cam Ward. At the 107 here, I'll take the first wide receiver or quarterback off the board.
All right, Cam Ward goes to your Giants. Thought maybe you'd be more excited about that pick and have something to say about your New York Giants, but it's like, I'll take Cam Ward.
Excited.
I'll be excited. I mean, this guy wants Cam Ward. He can't even be excited about drafting him.
I'll be excited once I see wins. I'm excited because there's change. I'm not excited for Cam Ward. Let me rephrase that. I'm excited for change. Am I excited that Cam Ward could bust? Absolutely not, because I think both those guys can bust. So I think that's what I want.
I mean, the people want some passion, man. There's a lot of New York Giants fans who follow us, those poor souls. And they look to you for passion, man. They look to you for some sort of sign that everything's going to be okay. And right now, they're not getting that.
All the New York Giants fans wanted to fire Brian Daboll and Joe Shane. So they probably hate what's happening regardless, no matter who we get.
Yeah.
So,
all right, at the 108, we had Sanders come off the board, as in Shador. And remember, he went to the Raiders in the first round. So I think this pick makes a lot of sense. Now, after Shador, we get Tyler Warren, who comes off the board. And he is a Denver Bronco. So that landing spot in particular, I really, really like. I like imagining him in that offense with Sean Payton, with Bo Nix. And then after that, I'm on the clock. And I am going to go ahead and take Colston Loveland, who I think can have a huge, drastic impact on Dynasty tight end rankings as a rookie, especially if he lands with the Los Angeles Chargers. Definitely like a receiver needy team. Greg Roman, I mean, I could spend like an entire hour telling you why this is a perfect landing spot, but you guys probably already know that by now. And we'll see what happens at the 111 here. It is Emeka Egbuka. So he was a 201 last time. Now he is the 111 off the board. Early second round to the Tennessee Titans, which we love to see.
Yeah. Great round at the 112. Quinshon Judkins going to my beloved New York Football Giants. You wanted me to talk it up here? Huh?
Yeah, I do.
Nah, it just sucks for Tyrell. He goes to the New York Football Giants. But you get the 1-2 punch down. Get some more talent, baby. Talk it up.
Yeah. Okay, so Quinshon Judkins goes off the board at the 112. Not that different of a first round. I mean, the only difference is Trayvon Henderson goes pick 2. You know, you had a round 1 running back with 86% hit rate available at the 102, but we took Trayvon. Not saying it's the wrong move, but you do have to ask some questions. Ted McMillan at the 103. We saw the quarterbacks go a little bit later than the first one. We saw Warren go ahead of Loveland this time. Egbuka goes in the first round instead of the second. But overall, relatively similar, just different landing spots for these guys. As Alec Ao Manor, he comes off the board here. Remember, he went to the Commanders in round 2. Definitely a team that needs. I mean, right now, their wide receiver 2 is Olamide Zaccheaus. So, very clear need.
Very clear need.
Actually, it could be De'Ami Brown. I mean, he just popped off. I keep seeing all these social media clips of Amon-Ra St. Brown talking shit on De'Ami Brown because he was drafted after De'Ami Brown. And people are trying to, like, make some beef between the Commanders and Lions. So, I can't wait to watch that game.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, and there's like these Lion podcasters who are just saying that they're going to completely destroy the Commanders, which is a possibility.
Jalen Milroe off the board going to the Cleveland Browns with the second overall pick in the second, or the first overall pick, excuse me, in the second round of the NFL draft.
Yeah.
So last time he went at the 208 or 209. He goes at the 2-2 this round.
Yep. And, you know, if you want to take a shot on a rookie quarterback in the second round, need some rushing upside, Jalen has that. At the 203, we get Cam Scatterbo, who went to the Chicago Bears. A lot of people have this guy inside the top 5 of their running back rankings, so it makes sense to see him go this high. I'm a big fan of his game as well. I think we will see him at the Senior Bowl. I could be wrong, actually. I don't remember if he made Senior Bowl roster or not, but it's certainly a possibility we could see him there.
Let's see Senior Bowl 2025 roster.
Yeah.
Wait,
I definitely think it's a possibility that we see him. I just don't know 100% off the top of my head if he's going to be there.
All right.
Okay, apparently he did. Yeah. All right, at the 204, we were waiting on Dylan here to give us a pick. Ryan says Henderson's the second best back in the draft. And yeah, I've said it before. I mean, I felt like I was on an island there for a while as the only guy who had Henderson over Judkins, but I'm there with you guys as far as him being worthy of being there. I think he's in that same tier as Caleb or Hampton. I think it's silly to rule the other guys out. And in this world we're trying to live in, which is using landing spots and determining what it means for rookie drafts, I also think it's a bit silly to rule out Caleb Johnson, who was a first-round pick, considering the historic hit rate, considering the offense that he's on. But again, I can respect the takes from the community. Jalen Royals comes off the board next.
He goes to Steelers in the second.
Steelers in the second round. Steelers know how to develop wide receivers, that's for sure. So I do like the pick a lot.
Yeah, shout out to George Pickens. I mean, great wide receiver.
I don't know if that's like sarcastic, but I don't know how you could say he's not. That feels sarcastic, but I don't understand why you're being sarcastic. You don't think George Pickens is a good wide receiver? You don't think they made the right?
I never said he wasn't. I don't think he.
That felt super sarcastic.
I don't think he is like going to be the wide receiver they hoped him to be.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. Maybe it's quarterback play, but I think there's a lot of mental things with George Pickens.
All right, we're gonna grab.
Not hinder.
We're gonna have Dylan Sampson come off the board here. If you're making the picks, let's try and get him out a little bit quicker here. Dylan Sampson comes off the board here at the 205, I think it is. Yes, and he went to the Bengals in the 3rd round. He and Chase Brown are now going to share a backfield, and Chase Brown's probably going to be the number 1 guy, but it'll be pretty close here. And right after that, DJ Giddens comes off the board. He goes to your Pittsburgh Steelers. Has an incredible opportunity ahead of him to kind of take over that job, considering Najee Harris is moving on. Great, talented player. A lot of people not giving him enough love, but he also comes off the board. And yeah, Toby says, no way Royals will be a Steeler. He isn't a head case. They're going to have to draft Lacey. Yeah, I mean, maybe they can zoom him in to games. They got Zoom in jail, right?
They got Zoom in jail.
I mean, I see a bunch of my TikTok. There's always guys in jail coming up. I don't know why. It's weird, but they're
why
making
is that
content.
on your TikTok? You like looking at men in jail?
How do you even make that into like a weird thing? Somehow you found a way to do that. Of course, it's hilarious. I mean, they're like making content in there. They're like showing us like the crib. They're playing 2K. I mean, I don't know how that you found a way to make that weird. Devin Neal comes off the board next at the 207, I think 7 for you. Yes, at the 207 for you.
He goes to the Chargers.
He goes to the Chargers. Great pick. Makes a lot of sense, both for their team and for dynasty purposes. Right after Devin Neal, we see Trey Harris come off the board.
Yeah. He went to the Texans in the 3rd round or 2nd round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, great draft capital, great landing spot, a place where he can really make an impact. At the 209, would have been my pick, so I like this a lot. Harold Fannin comes off the board. Remember, he went to the Dolphins. Can't help but compare him to Jonnu Smith and love imagining him in this offense long term. I'm on the clock now, and we're going to go ahead and show some love to Jack Besh again. I'll take Jack Besh again here.
Okay.
You know, remember 3rd round to the Jets. And,
Big Jackie.
You know, again, it's just a team that is so much turnover happening right now. They need someone to step up and solidify themselves. So, yeah. All right, at the 211, we do see Travis Hunter come off the board. Great pick. Honestly, should have been my pick. I keep yelling at you guys for not drafting Travis Hunter early enough, and then I don't do it myself. So shout out to freaking Mikey, who is making a great pick there with Travis Hunter. I mean, even if Travis Hunter plays, 30 wide receiver snaps a game, I think I'd be willing to take a shot on him here in the late 2nd round. And then let's see what Evie does here at the 212. Yeah, they got phones in jail now.
Matthew Golden. Which is great value, actually. He goes in the early 2nd round.
Yep.
To the Saints.
Yes, that probably should have been my pick, given the draft capital. But hard to entertain the chat and also make the pick. That's on me. I'll hold my hand up. We also have Isaiah Bond coming off the board. Really talented player. Really fun to watch. It's going to take the right coaching staff. It's going to take the right system to allow him to thrive in the right environment. At the 302, Ollie Gordon. I
don't think he was drafted in this mock draft, but
I think he went in the late 6th or 5th round, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he? Let me just triple check there.
There's definitely an Ollie Gordon hive out there. I'm not a part of it.
He went to the Ravens. He went to the. I mean, yeah. There's a couple people in this draft was like, "Where's Ollie Gordon? Where's Ollie Gordon?"
Yeah,
so,
I mean, look, there's a lot of people who love Ollie Gordon. I've never watched a prospect who is that big and that bad through contact.
I think it was Connor. He said, "There he is, the GOAT." Talk to us. Tell us why he's so good, Connor. What are you thinking?
Look, and everyone's welcome to their opinions. Like of course, every prospect you're gonna find some good clips. You're gonna find some good film, right? If you're not able to find any clips worth mentioning on a prospect, I mean, what are we even talking about? But I just think there's a lot of real concerns. I mean, the way he attacks a defender in space, it's mind-boggling. I mean, he has so much athleticism. He's a big body, 6'2", 225. He should be really strong, but he has no idea how to win with his athleticism. His play strength is shockingly bad. Way too indecisive, in my opinion. He's a great receiver. I'll say that. A very good receiver. Decent vision. At times it's inconsistent. I think he's got pretty decent bursts as well. I don't think this is that different from Braylon Allen. I think it's like Braylon Allen plus. I think that's what you're getting. And that could be a very intriguing player at the next level. I think, what if you combine Braylon Allen and Rachaad White? I think that's kind of what you're getting out of Ollie Gordon. So I don't want to say too many rude things because I know his offensive line wasn't great. And I know he wasn't in the great situation. But I want you to turn lemons into lemonade on a daily, and I just think he did that more on a weekly basis rather than a daily basis.
Daily basis, yeah, that's fair.
That is fair. 303, and also in this mock draft, he went in the 5th round. It's hard to take him there. At the 303, we get Quinn Ewers off the board. So, Rick, I love you, man, but if you want to throw your money away, I mean, I got different ways you can do it that are more enjoyable than drafting Quinn Ewers. Where did Quinn Ewers go in this mock draft?
He was Miami Dolphins. I mean, Ricky said in this universe where he sits behind Tua as concussion insurance over staying his Texas, moving to North Carolina.
Yeah.
So look, it makes sense. Like in that world. And oddly enough, Ricky does have Tua as his photo.
Well, I can tell you that the hit rate for a round 4 quarterback is 5.9% in the last decade. So we're going to have to see him overcome incredible odds, but I get the scenario. You know what I mean? At the 304, we do see Jaden Higgins come off the board, which I thought he would be going higher in most of these drafts, to be honest, given the draft capital, and normally people love the landing spot of the Chiefs. So he does come off the board here. I can definitely recognize a lot of good parts of his game, so I won't say anything negative about him. I think he's a pretty decent player. At the 304,
no pick from Tom here, by the way. So Tom, if you're there,
305. That's Dylan. So we've got Jalen Knoll. So these teammates go back to back here, is what it looks like. Jalen Knoll, right after his teammate Jaden Higgins. Remember, Jalen Knoll going to the Jags. Perfect Christian Kirk long-term replacement there. I'm a huge fan of his game. Can play inside, can play outside. Great slot option. A little Josh Downs to his game. A huge fan of what he can offer. Then we see Xavier Restrepo coming off the board here next. Who went to the Bucks. Is it Dylan that we have no pick for?
No, it was Tom Lloyd. But now
what I'm doing wrong is I'm actually putting the I know what I'm doing wrong. Because I don't have any graphic for Quinn Ewers. That's the problem.
Okay, right.
I don't have a Quinn Ewers graphic. We didn't actually know if he was going to declare. So Quinn Ewers is the 302. That's my bad. What are you thinking here at the 307, my friend?
I'll take Jackson Dart. He wasn't drafted last time. He goes to the Titans, which I'm pretty sure we don't have a graphic for him as well. Actually, we do. It's on the drive. But we can do that next live stream. He goes in the 4th round to the Tennessee Titans, who also has Mbuka, who also has Calvin Ridley. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Fannon's already been drafted, T-Mode. What round did Jackson Dart go in?
4th round.
Okay, yeah. So same type of bet as like a Quinn Ewers there, I guess. But Fannin already off the board. Let's see what T-Mode's going to say.
I'll be back. 1 second.
Yep, no worries. The roll says it loves the Hall. So what did the roll end up with? Henderson, Milroe, and Ollie Gordon at the 202. Do we have a pick for T-Mode here? Please, T-Mode. We're trying to catch up with the chat. Trey Harris at the 208 is insane. Right after we had someone say that Henderson is the second best back in the class, and they were very confident in saying it's not Johnston or Hampton. Another person came in the chat and said that Hampton's a clear RB2. So it does get more confusing than that from the community. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Of course, we all have different opinions, right? That's the beauty of what we do. All right, at the 3, we finally get a pick from T-Mode. He goes Tez Johnson. I really like that pick. Tez Johnson comes off the board. Fantastic player. And last time he was a 212. So you got him at a pretty big discount here considering where he was drafted last time out. So definitely like the pick on Tez Johnson. All he's done is produce. Transferred into Oregon, put up big numbers. And then we get RJ Harvey coming off the board at the 309. RJ was a fantastic watch. I really, really enjoyed watching him. I mean, he's ranked below RB15 for me, but that's not even like a disrespectful. I don't view it as disrespectful. This class is just so deep. But yeah, really, really fun player to watch. Super efficient and super dynamic. I'm a big, big fan of his game. I'm up on the clock here. I will go Woody Marks. I'll take Woody Marks off the board here. We'll take Woody. Huge fan of his game. I think he goes to the Packers. And look, if Marshawn Lloyd isn't going to be healthy, maybe Woody Marks has a chance to contribute.
Sure. Struggling with injuries all year.
Yeah. At the 311, what are we doing here? Mikey.
He was already taken there, Mikey.
Did Mikey comment something?
Yeah, he said Alec.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Alec already gone. Jordan James. Yeah, I like the pick a lot. We've already talked about him a lot in the last mock, but I mean, he could definitely make an impact for the Commanders in that offense. I mean, Austin Eckler is coming at the end of his rope, and Brian Robinson's not making an impact. And then we also get Jarquez Hunter off the board. So, yeah. Two guys I really love to end this draft. No, we're not going to go 4 rounds. I don't have the amount of photos we need. And honestly, no one's even doing past 2 rounds anyway, so you're welcome. All right. But no, we do appreciate you guys big time. These are always probably the most fun streams in the offseason, talking through mock drafts and what they would mean for Dynasty football and kind of trying to decide how to value these players. And, you know, while I might be opinionated on our stream, I just want you guys to know that your opinions are also welcome here. We don't have to view players the same way. We don't have to view the class the same way. I mean, Ollie Gordon can be your RB2 if you want. All right. I'm not going to agree with you, but I love that you guys are here having these conversations with us. Please don't ever take it as disrespect if I don't agree with your take. But of course, you know, you guys come here to hear what we think, right? So do appreciate you guys being here with us. Do us a favor, smash that like button if you have yet to do so to show some love. Update on our 17,000 subscriber mark. We are 9 subscribers away. 9 subscribers away from 17,000. So if you have yet to subscribe, be a friend, and obviously subscribe for us. Now, this is a 2-part stream. The first part was doing the rookie drafts, and, you know, we actually went a little bit over what we probably should have today. So we love doing that with you guys. The second part of today's stream is that we are going to review 3 Dynasty teams. So let's go ahead and transition there, where we are going to start looking at some of these Dynasty teams. So we're going to show some love to some people who have shown love to us, some people who have, you know, supported us over on the Flock Fantasy website.
Yeah, it's awesome.
So if you're out there and you're like, okay, what's going on? Well, the people we're about to review their teams for, they have supported us on the Flock Fantasy website. There's 2 ways that you can get your team reviewed. The first way is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. All right. We believe wholeheartedly that that is the best bang for your buck. All right. It's easily the best bang for your buck. You get the 2025 rookie report, which again, I need a new graphic if we can put that up on the drive. You get the Dynasty playbook. All right. So you can see here a direct, completely customized graphic that gives you a game plan for your entire offseason. Tells you exactly what we would do if we had your team, the pathway we would take, if we would rebuild, if we would go out there, contend, and we would tell you how to use your draft picks, all those kind of things. Again, included when you become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. That link is in the chat. You also get all of the premium tools on the website, our rookie report, etc. Now, the other way to get a Dynasty playbook is simply by purchasing one a la carte. All right, doesn't matter what promo code you're on. Doesn't matter if you support us or you have code FLOCK or whatever the promo code you might be using. You can use that link that I just put in the chat and I put as a pinned comment. When you click on that link, it'll take you to this screen. All right, you'll see team review. Obviously, hopefully you've linked up your league. If you don't have a sleeper league or ESPN or Yahoo, you can submit screenshots, but obviously that's the easiest way. So if you're on MFL, you can submit screenshots and then include your MFL ID in the context. But go ahead and hit continue when you select the team you want reviewed. Choose your team. Make sure the draft picks are all correct. Hit continue, and then you click Zach and Badaki here. The baseline tier is just offline version, okay? Now, if you want us to prioritize your review and do it on a live stream, all you need to do is pay $10 more. It's funny because some people actually prefer the offline version because they don't want their league mates to see us do the review. So if that's you, just purchase the normal version. If you want to be prioritized on a live stream, it's just $10 more. So either way, whatever floats your boat, whatever tickles that pickle, we can help you out. But first review that we're going to look at today is from Sam Stu, who has been supporting us for a long time. I always love to see people who, are supporting us and then they decide that the support is so good and they love the team review so much and all the features on the website and the rookie report that they decide, you know what, I'm going to come back again because I loved it last year. I'm going to keep supporting these guys. And that's what Sam's done here. Appreciate you, longtime supporter. But let's get to it, shall we?
Yeah, appreciate you guys.
I got his chalkboard out and go ahead.
Yeah, we'll have a look at this context here and have a read. He said this team was bad last year. I didn't expect to contend this year, but I finished 3rd in the regular season. I like my quarterback room and young cornerstone at wide receiver in Thomas and McConkey. It's a 10-team Superflex start 11 half PPR tight end premium league. I'm open to selling or buying anyone. Thanks, guys. So, okay. This is, have a look at his team. Pete Wheeling and Dealing is his team name.
And right now, with my rankings, you're ranked 5th. So, oh my God, what happened to Tiggle Gritties?
Tiggle Gritties.
That's got to be one of the lowest scores we've ever seen. I mean, let's have a look at that team. I mean,
we've seen worse than that.
You guys have ravaged this guy, but he's just built on a lot of vets that aren't really producing, like Tyreek and. Anyway, not the worst team we've ever seen.
Superflex start 11, so rolling deep. It looks like.
Yep, rolling deep roster, meaning that you can start up to 6 receivers. You either have 4 flex spots or 3 starting wide receivers and 3 flex spots. What's up, Mason, in the chat? But yeah, this is a deep lineup, so depth obviously matters. Now, in a 10-team league, everybody hopefully has a better team overall than like a 12-teamer. But depth is obviously important. Why don't you go ahead and read out his team, and we'll have a look, get started.
Yeah, we'll have a look. Once again, Superflex 10-team start, 11 half PPR. Justin Herbert, Michael Penix, Baker Mayfield, Brock Purdy. Phenomenal quarterback room. I say, obviously, Herbert. You got Baker doing so good this year. Penix is now a starter. Brock Purdy on a down year, but that's okay. Maybe we can sell one of these quarterbacks here.
Hopefully there's someone who needs one, because this is a great room.
Yeah, this is a great room. At the running back position, Alvin, Tony, Ramondre, Swift, Brooks, a little bit older. I Alvin did good last year, but maybe trying to get a more solidified RB2 potentially with your draft capital, which we'll see here. At the wide receiver position, like you said, Brian Thomas Jr., Lam McConkey, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, George Pickens, Brandon Ayuk, Deontay Johnson, and the list goes on there, which is a good starting.
Baltimore Raven, Deontay Johnson.
Baltimore Ravens, Deontay Johnson. You can start up to 6 wide receivers in a rolling deep lineup, 4 flex, 2 regular wide receivers, or you can start up to 6 running backs, of course. We like to prioritize wide receivers, and you have some decent wide receivers here that you can start, bearing, you know, whatever happens going into the 2025 season. And then Cade all in with Pat Frymuth here. And looks like you got the 106, 109, the 206. So you have 2 first-round picks in 2025.
By the way, Mason just said, any shot y'all want to come to the U.S. for a draft or combine? No worries if not. I don't even think I want to go, and it's like a 3-hour flight for me. It really, like, it would all depend on a couple things. Like, we would.
I think it would be interesting. Let me just, sorry, continue.
I wouldn't go for the combine personally, because the combine is, I think, one of the more overrated part of the Dynasty offseason. But it's fun to watch. Like, it's really fun to watch. But I just think, like, it's overrated from, like, how we assess prospects. But the draft would be incredibly fun. But I think because you and I, like, in the Dynasty offseason, that's, like, where we produce the most content. And we're constantly at our setup and, like, pumping stuff out. That just might make it tough. So we would have to figure it out and have, like, a full setup where you and I can pump content out.
I think, yeah.
It'd be tougher, for sure.
Let's just say we had everything in the world in wherever we're going to go over there. Sure, let's do it. Because I think being there during draft time would be awesome and creating that content.
Be really fun.
But especially if we're doing it with everyone, or I don't know, if maybe we're just doing it individually. But yeah, I think we should talk about it for sure. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, there's potential. I don't know the exact answer yet, but will definitely be potential. And Dalton says, my life has been boring without Dynasty videos from Mason. Yes, let's do it. Let's do it, Mason.
Yeah.
But good draft capital here for Sam. The 106, 109, 206, first in 2026 as well. Now, I would say, like, draft capital alone, probably, you know, like, I'd say, like, B+ feels fair, A-. Team as a whole, let's think through the starting lineup. Right now, you're probably starting Herbert, Mayfield, I'd assume. Then Kamara, Pollard, Thomas, McConkey, I guess Cade Otton. And then we still can flex 4 names. So that would probably be Higgins, and a combination of Metcalf, Pickens, Ayuk. So it's a pretty good starting lineup. Running back room is definitely your weak spot. You have a lot of veterans that I really am concerned about this offseason. For example, DeAndre Swift, I think they could definitely replace him pretty easily. He was probably the most mediocre running back in the NFL this year from, like, an efficiency perspective. Ramondre Stevenson, I mean, that boy, they need to just put glue on his hands every game.
That boy, they need glue.
But overall team grade, I think this is more, this feels like B- to me. Because the strengths at quarterback, hopefully we can take advantage of.
We can take advantage, yeah.
And then with those picks, hopefully we can improve running back. We're really like a couple hits away from being a very, very good team. We're already probably making the playoffs, but I don't think we're winning at all. I'd say, yeah. What would you say?
Yeah, I would say B- as well.
Yeah.
C+ feels a little bit harsh, especially with, you don't have an RB2, but you have some starting wide receivers, and a lot of depth at the quarterback position. So I think a lot of that can potentially change with the right moves moving forward here.
Yeah, I agree.
Which means the main pathway is windows open.
Yeah, I think
maybe.
Speaking of, we'll bring these pathways up here. Hold on.
I feel like that is, it can be windows open or sleeper. A couple moves. You actually might be sleeper because he wasn't expecting this team to get into it. He finished 3rd in the regular season. I I think he might be sleeper. A couple moves and you're right in the mix here.
Yeah,
That's what I would
it's
say.
close between sleeper and windows open. I mean, how many veterans do we have? Let me remind myself with this team.
Alvin, I guess you can throw Swift, Ramondre in there, Tony Pollard. Yes,
Yeah.
Deontay one.
The wide receiver room is so young still, though. I think sleeper. Sleeper makes sense. Especially, like, think about it. Once we add another young running back as well, I think sleeper is the right pathway for this guy.
Yeah.
Playing with house money. All right, so I want to. I think my number one goal is would be to trade one of my quarterbacks to improve running back or tight end.
Sure.
That's my number one goal, I think, with this roster, because that's really the area of need, and that's the area of excess as well. And we'll talk through different options. Option one, which would be stick and pick, right? Just in this scenario, you keep your picks and you build around the draft. But I think this is a team where I could definitely see us going the second route, which is to basically kind of go a little bit more all in with these picks. And, you know, the Josh Jacobs of the world could join our team. Some of these veteran running backs, maybe a Trey McBride if we can figure that out.
Yeah, I'm okay.
I don't really think you're a tier down team. Like, you can't really tier down from the 106 or the 109. So we won't really talk about that as an option. But all right, if we were to stick and pick Badaki, I think it's pretty obvious what we would do, right? I think we want to add a running back here, and it's a great class to do that. You know, your Hampton, your Caleb Johnson, your Travion Henderson, like somewhere in that range, I think you would land at the 109. And at the 106, I doubt Henderson's still there, but you probably have a chance at like a Judkins.
Yeah, I think 109 might be prime for one of these tight ends. Colston,
that's a great point.
Tyler Warren, because you do need a tight end here. And if those running backs and those quarterbacks do go like we've seen in the mock draft we even had earlier today, this is a prime position for some of those tight ends.
Yeah, I think then true BPA at the 206. And I mean, let's play off that world. Let's say I think it'd be tougher to get a Hampton or Johnson, but based off today's mock draft from the community, maybe Henderson's a tougher one to get. I don't really know how it works. But let's just say you get Caleb, and then you land, let's say, Loveland?
Yeah.
And I don't know, you get like let's just say like a DJ Giddens or something at the 206. I don't know exactly what it would be, but you add those guys to your roster. Kamara, Johnson, Pollard. That's a good group. That's a reliable group to go out and compete. You add Loveland, which in the right scenario, he could produce in year one. So that could work out as well for you. So that already fills a lot of the needs of your team. In fact, the more I'm talking this out, the more I don't know that I want to trade away these picks. But
I think it just depends on who you could potentially get. Like, I think I would do those picks for certain players for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe not the 109, but the 106, right? Let's just see what a mid first right now, and what you could potentially get here. And some of these running backs. Let's see. So let's start off with like Josh Jacobs. Like, would you do the 106 and a second for like Bucky?
Oh yeah, I would. I would actually. Yeah, I would prefer to maybe use like DeAndre Swift.
Yeah,
if possible, and every league is going to be different, right? Because I feel like I have a daily battle with our Dynasty comment section around Bucky Irving, and me saying I value him a certain way, and our community saying that he's overvalued and I'm valuing him too high. So I have this like daily battle with our comment section on Bucky Irving. Literally every day I wake up and someone's like, "You're an idiot. Bucky is not worth what you think he's worth." But I just disagree with all of them. And I am not selling Bucky. I'm buying him high. In fact, a video is coming out on Monday for you guys specifically talking about that. And yeah, I just don't agree with people who say that. But yeah, I really, really love this idea. Turning the 106 and DeAndre Swift into Bucky, I think, would be awesome for this team. Because we lose Swift, who's probably losing his job anyway. Then we add Bucky to an offense that already has Alvin Kamara. So Bucky, Kamara, Pollard, Stevenson. That's a great room right there. And we still at the 109 would have a chance to, add a tight end if we wanted to.
Tight end, yeah. Or if the tight ends are gone, you can still go for another running back and get some more depth.
Now, what's another range that we can get into? I think Bucky, because there's so many different ranges of opinion, he's a great one to talk about. But I mean, I'm not sure. I'm not sure like with this roster specifically, because I don't think we are windows open. I think we're more sleeper status, so we don't need to be so all in. Like I don't think I would go Josh Jacobs, for example, with this roster.
Or
I might use the 109. The 109 is a weird spot for running back.
Yeah, I feel like that's just
But-
right outside.
What if you can do the 109 plus Swift for Jacobs and a third or something?
Okay. What was we were talking about another running back earlier. I don't know if it was the 109, but maybe it was late first, maybe like 111, but we talked about Chuba.
Yeah, I would go out on a limb and say you can't do this, but what about like 206 plus DeAndre Swift plus something to get us to Chuba? It needs to be quality. Which I'm not sure that we can offer. I mean, I'd add Jonathan Brooks into there. Well, who has
Chuba? Let's see.
Because maybe we could add quarterback into this.
Yeah, that's what I was literally about to try and find out.
Yeah, this is perfect because he has an excess of running backs.
DJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, Derek Carr.
I think this is perfect. How about we do Chuba? All right, so our goal should be... I mean, there's no way we could get Bowers from this guy, but... What about Chuba and Bucky? I think we could pull off something sick. Hold on, let's think this through. Chuba plus Bucky Irving. And we're going to give you Brock Purdy plus...
I feel like it has to be Brock
109?
Purdy in the first. Yeah, one of the first.
That feels like... That feels like you're paying too much for Chuba, though.
Well, in reality, we wouldn't be paying for Chuba. We'd be paying for Bucky.
No, I agree,
Chuba
but
would be
there are
mad
some
on.
people who don't even value him at the 108 based off the comment section. I mean, what if
Right.
you could add like a Chris Godwin in to your side of the deal, right? That could be awesome.
Brock Purdy.
Do you prefer to sell a different name?
Well, that's what I was looking at. I think Brock Purdy is the one I would want to sell. I want to keep Herbert, Penix, Mayfields, Purdy. The thing is, Purdy is not sellable right now.
Okay, well, let's say sell Baker instead and get a cheaper... Okay, so let's go Baker. What about... Okay, hold on. Let's leave that as an option. But another idea that I would have here is let's go Baker plus the 206 plus DeAndre Swift. And then we'll take out Chris Godwin. That can start a conversation. I think they probably counter. They want more. But I think you're starting a conversation there.
Yeah, I think that's good. I think that's a good starting point for sure.
And that's probably selling Baker off of a really good season. Not at the right time. Like you can still build around Baker, but I like that. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I do like that one.
I mean, let's play that world out. Let's say you got rid of Mayfield, the 206, and Swift. Well, you'd add Chuba and Bucky. You would still have Herbert, Penix, Purdy, Chuba, Bucky, Kamara, Pollard. And then you could still add a name at the 106, a tight end at the 109. That would be the perfect trade, I think. Let's keep exploring.
I'm looking at trying to sell these quarterbacks. So, like,
how about we find a quarterback needy team then? Let's
Dak Prescott,
sort
Trevor Lawrence. I'm
by
sorry,
need.
Smith.
That's a great team. What are you
Yes,
thinking?
Josh Jacobs, Jackson Smith, and Jigba. I mean, I would like to get my hands on either JSN, a Marvin, or Josh Jacobs.
I was gonna say
Those.
Trey McBride would be my target.
Oh yeah, Trey. Trey's there. Yes,
What
let's
about
try
like a
Trey.
Purdy for Trey straight up?
I don't think that guy would do it.
You don't think so in a super flex?
I think he would just be like, "Oh, I have Dak and Trevor. I'd just rather keep Trey."
That's fair. What if we offered him Otton as well?
I say we can leave it down and see, like,
Yeah.
that's a starting point for sure.
I mean, you could also do Baker straight up. That's probably more appealing. Anyway, I mean, we can get rid of Baker and
I'd say, like, I feel like you would have to overpay. So, like, in my perspective, I feel like that guy would be like, "Give me Baker in your second."
right.
You know?
Yeah, well, that's not
You
going to
know.
happen in Superflex. How about we target like Jacobs, Judy? Would you do Purdy for Jacobs, Judy?
Yeah, I would.
Because I think Jacobs alone isn't enough.
I agree.
At least in my opinion in Superflex. Maybe I'm undervaluing it because of Tin Team, but all right, the other teams that can make sense. How about Tig Old Gritties? There's no one we really want, actually. Never mind.
No,
South Slice FC. I don't think they have the depth or the facilities for a move.
for that big man. I think that might be the only ones really. The rest really just get better.
You might be able to sneak one with Hurts So Good squad, but I don't think it makes sense with them. How about, actually, the Anthony Richardson team could make a ton of sense. Oh, this is perfect, actually, because they have Laporta and Hawkinson. They have 3 running backs. I think we find our way into an Achane, a Taylor, a Hawkinson, Laporta, a combination of 2.
Yeah.
And we can even throw Saquon in there, but that puts us more in like a must-win.
I like that.
I think
let's try that.
Hawkinson's the easier one to buy right now.
Yeah, no one's gonna. I don't think he will give up Laporta.
Let's say
Maybe
Hawkinson and JT, because I think JT's the cheaper of those options. And we're gonna send him Brock Purdy, and you would probably have to include the 206 and something else. Like,
yeah, Dre Swift.
I was going to say George Pickens.
Yeah, I'm okay with George.
We'll take away the 206 and send Purdy and Pickens. I don't think you're getting enough in return now, actually.
I think in a Superflex league, getting TJ and JT for Brock Purdy, I think that's pretty big, don't you think? Let me see what.
Not
what
when
KTC.
you add George Pickens into there. I don't think it is.
Let me see what KTC says about that out of curiosity. And
Well, add Tony Pollard to it. How about the 206 and Tony Pollard?
So if we give away Brock Purdy in a Superflex league and George Pickens, and we receive TJ and Taylor, that's nearly even. Like it's over. Like the TJ and Jonathan Taylor side is slightly under.
Okay, but it's close.
Yeah, it is close. So like if you were to add Pollard to that, it's way overvalued.
Okay, so we don't need to add Pollard.
No.
Well,
I'm
then
gonna see what the Fox fantasy.
I'd say Baker in the 206 or Purdy the 206 and Pollard. One of those gets it done. Those are all really good options, to be honest. But okay, I think that's where our options kind of stop. Yeah, there's no other names that make sense there, but that's a lot of very good ideas. Of course, they're not all going to be able to be completed, But even if you do a mixture of these, right? So, for example, you draft Caleb Johnson, and then you go out and you trade the 109 and Purdy for Chuba, Bucky, and Godwin. Right? I mean, these are just like I love that trade. That's probably my favorite. Which ones do you want to highlight? Because these are all pretty good trades, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, they're all pretty good trades. I think I would just do. Let me just pull it up on my side. I would try the TJ and Jonathan Taylor one, Josh Jacobs and Jerry Jeudy. Those are the two I would do.
TJ and Jonathan Taylor, which for Baker or Purdy?
Purdy.
Okay, and then you said which one? Jacobs and Jeudy.
Jacobs and Jeudy. Yeah.
Okay. I also like the McBride if you're able to get that done. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different options for this team. I kind of feel like this team, if you play this right, you go from a sleeper to a contender pretty
easily.
quickly.
Yeah, I agree. Untouchables for this team, I'd probably say just Brian Thomas. Hey,
Brian Thomas. Yeah, I don't think there's another one that exists.
I feel like we can add Lab McConkey for graphics' sake.
But when you watch this, I don't think he's an actual untouchable. I love him. And holds, Ayuk's definitely a hold for me.
Yeah.
Penix.
And Michael Penix. Okay.
And
then dropped, I put Kayvon Turpin, Jalen Naylor, Ray McLeod, Bud Beams.
That's perfect. Those guys are all useless. I mean, you could drop Noah Brown too if you wanted. Elijah Moore too if you wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun team. This was really fun to I felt like we were cooking there for a second.
Let him cook.
Let him cook. Appreciate you, Sammy. As Badaki always says, you will get your Dynasty Playbook on the Flock message tab with this review within 48 to 72 hours. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Obviously, it will be completely customized to your team and everything we talked about today. And, of course, if you guys ever receive a graphic and there's any issue on the graphic, just email us at fantasylandfootball@gmail.com, and we'll get that fixed up for you. Yeah.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for the support.
We covered everything, right, for the graphic?
Yes.
Okay.
We got everything for Sam.
Happen is next. Just so happens that Happen is up next.
And let me know Happen is here. I know he was here yesterday. Hopefully he's here with us today. I know he's been waiting for his review patiently, his playbook patiently. We appreciate that.
Yes,
but
sir.
Happen is next. Happens have not is his team name. And let's read this context here. He says, was a rebuild year for me, so I went on and bought Rice, Ayuk, Godwin during the season, along with acquiring some picks. Feel like the future is bright, but it's time to turn into results. What's the move? Okay, this is a 12-team Superflex start 10.
So that's the middle ground. That's what most of our follower leagues look like. It's not too heavy on the starting lineup and not too abandoned on the depth. That's why we call it the middle ground. You're currently ranked 4th. And everyone's really close in rankings outside of B. Muchacho, who has a pretty good team. It's very top heavy. I think that's what's pushing him up. Like with Daniels, Allen, Bucky, and Jameer, very, very top heavy. It's a great core. But your team is team 4. Happens, have not. Why don't you go ahead and walk us through this again? 12-team Superflex start 10 PPR.
Yeah. At the quarterback position, Drake May, Justin Herbert, Will Levis, then the list goes on there. So your top 2 quarterbacks are there. And I think Will Levis, if he is the quarterback, that's fine to be your QB3, but it's not exciting. So I think the quarterback room is good.
What would you say odds of him being a starter next year are for you?
I think if the Titans don't draft a quarterback, it's 100%.
Right. I think he's done.
I think like it just really depends on if they really want to invest in the Kirk Cousins or the Justin Fields or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just all depends what happens in the season. In the NFL draft. At the running back position, Ramondre Stevenson, AJ Dillon, and really that's it. Really no one worth talking about there. So you definitely need help at the running back position. At the wide receiver position, like you said, you did go out and buy some guys: Rashee Rice, George Pickens, Ayuk, Chris Godwin, and no one really to mention at the rest there, and no one at the tight end position. So this is a struggling team for sure, with some long future pieces like the Rices, like the Ayuks, like the Pickens. But the draft capital is there. I mean, you have 3 first-round picks. You have 2 second-round picks as well in this year, and you have 2 picks in 2026. I mean, if I'm looking at this team,
yeah,
it's a
kind
one-year
of
punt.
like the definition of a 1-year punt.
Yeah, it's a 1-year punt for sure. Like,
because we're still waiting on May to develop and get more weapons. Rashee Rice will deal with a suspension and come back from the injury. Ayuk will come back from the injury. Chris Godwin will come back from the injury. You have all these rookies. Probably shouldn't expect to go compete with all these rookies. Half of them might not even hit. And then you have picks in future class. And if all your picks hit now, you can use those picks in 2026 to make veteran moves to go compete the year after. So I think you're right. The definition of a 1-year punt.
Yeah, happening is here, so we appreciate you happening. If you're hearing something and it's wrong, or if you have any input, please just let us know. It's just for context, my first rounders are the 102, 109 one. Yes, we can see that.
Yeah, I got that all hooked up and ready to look at as well.
Oh, so he doesn't have the 104. You have the 102, 109, 111.
Oh, so you don't have the 104. Is that right, Happen?
Did you have the 104 recently out of curiosity, or is that just incorrect on the website? Because we can tell our developers, just so we have some understanding of that.
We'll wait to hear from him. But either way, I mean, this is like a really fun team to own, because you have all this draft capital. You have really nice names to build around, like May, Herbert, Rice, Ayuk, and you know, you dream up and scheme up of how this team can become, you know, a great team. He says, I think it's just incorrect on the website. Looked good when I hit submit unless I'm tweaking. Okay, so no 104 here. So let's take that out. But that's okay. That's still a decent amount. I mean, honestly, it looks a little more bleak because I thought that 104 could be really important
that 104
for us.
changes. That 104 changes it significantly because it's a big gap there between the 102 and the 109.
But still, I assume he still has 2 firsts in 2026. I'll say this. The draft capital grade has got to be like an A flat, if not A plus.
I agree.
The overall team grade is going to be much worse, obviously, because we know draft capital doesn't always pan into an actual good team. Wide receiver room is typically in rebuilders, you'd see a stronger wide receiver room already, but that's okay. There's no tight end worth mentioning here. We don't really need to be strong at running back. I think this is like a C plus.
Yeah, we can put C plus. I was gonna say more like a C flat, but I'm not gonna argue that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely a couple of moves that we can make if this is a 1 year.
We need to add the 111. Okay, so that's helpful. Yeah, sorry guys. Good catch, everybody. Well, that definitely makes his draft capital grade an A plus, and I think that definitely takes it from a C to a C plus.
Okay, that's fine as well.
So look, you have clear needs, but you have a future, right? I mean, you cannot imagine the amount of teams that come to us and they look like this, and they have 3 picks, and they're all second rounders, and we're like, shit. How are you going to rebuild this team? So jump in at any point and feel free to tell us what you think, if you agree or disagree or have different opinions on stuff. They're only untouchable, and I wouldn't even consider this player untouchable, but you can see in my rankings they're quarterback 6, and considering you're rebuilding, I would say Drake May. I would have as really the main guy. I'd say untouchable because I just believe he has this real like quarterback one type of ceiling. Outside of Drake May, I'd say your first round picks are untouchable. As in, there's no reason to sell your future first round picks. There's not a trade that makes sense. I mean, there are, right? Like the Bowers of the world or whatever, the neighbors. But for the most part, you don't want to send those because it's going to counteract your pathway, which is 1 year punt. Now, as far as holds, Ayuk is a very strong hold for me.
Yeah, for me, I put Rice and Ayuk.
Those are two great holds. I don't have a running back I'd like to mention there.
No. And then you have a lot of people that you can drop, and obviously this might be a deeper league. But everyone that...
If you need to clear space.
Yeah, everyone that genuinely, if you see on your screen here, that doesn't have a ranking, you could drop. So from like Tyquan Thornton down, gone. Robinson, Zach Wilson, Rudolph, thank you for your service. I went through, because I know Zach was going through all the leagues yesterday, turning them over to the new year, and I was just dropping all these people that I didn't need. And that's probably what you can do. Clear them out, have a fresh reset. This would be great.
Yeah, I'd add Irv Smith. Okay, so Irv Smith, Tony, Khalif, McCole, DJ, Rakim, Nelson, Tyquan, Shark, Keelan Robinson, Zach Wilson. That's 10 names that you can easily drop. You will not regret it. At least I'm not going to promise you that, but
you will just have 4. Keep in mind, you will just have 4 on your playbook graphic.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're here with us happening, and you can have a little bit more context with that as well. All right.
Okay, so let's dream up a future for this team. First off, is there any player you want to sell? Because I think Stevenson, Levis, Watson, probably not worth anything, but are the only players I think you could get something and are worth selling. Everyone else, I think I'd rather hold. So that's the names I'm gonna look at here.
Yeah, there's really not much. I mean, I will find it really hard to sell Watson or Will Levis.
I agree, but I'm saying like 4th round pick for a Watson type vibe.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe a third if you can get a third, right? But yeah, you're not wrong there. But let's dream up a future with this draft capital. If you were to stick and pick, well, you're not going to get Genty, but that's okay. At the 102, I mean, I wouldn't stick and pick. I would definitely trade back.
Yeah, try and trade back.
But if you do, a lot of options, right? Running back of your choice, whatever floats your boat, right? The list is vast. At the 109, I definitely think we want to go tight end, right?
Yeah, Warren, Colston, and then hey, if those guys are off the board or whatever at the 111, or those guys, yeah, Emeka Mbuka. I'm at the 111. I guess that list just continues. It can be Mbuka, Loveland, Warren. Who else do we have? It could be one of those quarterbacks that they fall if you really need him.
Yeah.
Or you could just take him best value.
And I think true BPA at the 204, which we don't know yet, right? There's a lot of factors yet to really give you a good answer on those picks. And honestly, at the 204, the list is like 20 names deep,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we'll play out this world. You get McMillan. I know that's most people's 102. That's just an example. You get Loveland, and then you add Igbuka, just as an example. I mean, we don't know exactly how it's all going to pan out. But in this world, and then, by the way, at the 204, you're probably adding a running back. Same at the 208. You're kind of trying to throw darts. But in that scenario, you'd have a lineup of May, Herbert. No improvement at running back. That's fine for a 1 year punt. Then you'd have Tet, Rice, Pickens, Ayuk, Egbuka, Godwin, Loveland. I mean, you're pretty much assuming these picks hit, and they won't all, but assuming they hit, you really just need to figure out running back next year, and you have 2 firsts Whoever
26.
next year's Josh Jacobs is, you know, like you get a couple of those. You get a cheap James Conner. Like that really puts you in a position to compete. Now, if I'm at the 102 and I'm doing this everywhere, I'd say trade back in the first, right? So maybe we can find a team that we can trade back with, Badaki, that might be interested. But ideally 103 to 107, and you know, you get something in the future. So is there a team? Let's see who has the 103. I mean, let's start 104 because I feel like 103 is harder to tear down from. I mean, do we even have that information? He has the 104, so we don't actually know who even has the 104. Happen, who has the 104?
Trying to find it. I know who has a 105. Mongo has a 105.
Okay, let's go there first then. Mongo, team 8.
104s. Yeah, he has 104. Sorry.
Okay, so they have like names like CMC and DJ, Tyreek, CD, Penix, Goff. This team is definitely competing. Yeah, it'd have to be like a pick swap, I think.
Yeah, this is a tough team.
I'd say 105 plus a second. 105 plus a future first. And then you give the 102 plus a future second. Which isn't really asking that much, especially because if they look at your team, they're going to say, that guy's not competing right now. And then, you know, again, you can wait to do this in the NFL draft, because if you think there's a clear tier break at the 102, you know, do your thing. But I think there's just a huge tier of players there. But how about the 106? Who has the 106?
106 is open a can of whoop ass. It's a 106, 112.
Okay, hold on. This guy, Happen is... yeah, okay, so the picks are all pretty much wrong. Tell us, Happen, who has the 104, the 105, the 106, the 107, and the 108. And you don't have to tell us 104, 105, because we see that now. So the 104 is Mongo. So let's just... Okay, so same idea, right? Same idea. The 105 is Charlie. Charlie?
Yep.
What do you think here with Charlie?
Just trying to find
I don't
Charlie.
even see a team named Charlie.
Yeah, I don't see a team named Charlie either. That's why I was a bit confused.
That might be a sleeper username. What is his team name, maybe? So yeah, I mean, we for some reason we can't figure out where picks are right here. Open a can of whoop ass.
Open a can of whoop ass. But yeah, essentially just tearing back, really, right? Getting some future, getting it, you know, like Zach has here. Tearing back from the 102, getting the 104 in the future first.
Waddle would have been a perfect tear down option, but that guy doesn't have a first. No picks there. No picks there. How about tearing down to the 107? The guy who has a 101, if he wants Tet and Ashton, he can get both. And then we can ask for... Yeah, we might have to ask for this guy's future first, because he's not going to give us JSN. I don't really care for Zay Flowers that much. You know, so
yeah,
in that scenario, we can go 107 plus a future first and just leave it straight up.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Let us know who has the... Let us know what Charlie's team name is. Happen. And as we're going through this, what we can do now is let's try and find a suitor for Ramondre Stevenson. Right? I think
let's see.
Any second in any year is a no-brainer. I'm just not sure that's even possible. 105 and 107 is can of whoop ass. Okay. Okay, that's good, because that guy had some options.
Yeah, he did.
105 and the 107, right. Would you go... I mean, you could try and buy low on Marvin Harrison here. If you did like the 102, 107 plus Marvin. And then we can give them the 102 plus something Like, could you try George Pickens? I doubt this is going to get accepted, but if they're like really worried about Marvin, it's a starting point, and maybe you can even add a Ramondre Stevenson to get it over the line. Like, start a conversation, see what's possible.
Yeah. I like that as well. I think that's a good one. So it's can of whoop ass.
Yeah, I mean, this guy doesn't really, outside of Marvin, you don't really want to build around Achane as a rebuild.
Yeah, you don't want to get a running back right now. There's no tight ends that he has.
Yeah,
Quarterbacks you feel a lot better about.
The only other idea is the same thing we talked about before, where it's literally the same deal, but it's the 105 instead of. And by the way, that future second can be like in 2027. You know, if you don't want it to be in 2026. The 106 is Colin. So let's have a look at Call real quack. Real quack.
Real quack.
And
Colin,
he's a tough
Colin's
one.
good.
Again, no one really worth building around.
And you don't have enough to get the Justin Jeffersons. I doubt he's going to want to sell AJ Brown.
No, this would have to be the same range as the 107, where you just get a future first.
Okay, and then 108.
And maybe you can add like a future third. But again, you can make that 2027, right? Try and do that strategically. 108 team is Quarth.
Malik Neighbors, Jackson Smith. I think it's the same team from earlier.
Doesn't
have much either.
No, there's not much, but Anthony Richardson is a fun throw-in in a trade back. Like, he has the 108, so 102 for the 108 plus A-Rich. But I'd rather have a future first.
Yeah, I'd rather have it.
So that actually doesn't work.
I'd rather have another first than Anthony Richardson.
Look, not everybody's going to be compatible, so that's fine. I mean, what else you could do is think through like wide receivers that are currently. You did a really good job of this already, but like we already talked about Marvin Harrison. But for example, you could send like your 109 for Marvin and something, right? Trying to take advantage of that 109 and I mean, would you do George Pickens in the 109 for Marvin and then like add like a future second, maybe see if that's possible. Try and buy low there.
109 and George from Marvin is second. Who's 109 right now? I think the 109 is pretty crucial because that could be your tight end.
Could be, but we can also get a guy that we thought was a generational player. How about Odunze? Who has Odunze? He could be a great buy low. Order of the White Lotus has Odunze. They don't look like a competing team, so I don't think you're going to be able to buy them from them. But I'll just put it in there. If you can get Odunze for the 109, of course, you do that. Right? I just don't think that they're going to be willing to do that. I think that's where it ends as far as using the picks to buy rebuilding vets.
Yeah, I wonder.
Or sorry, rebuilding young
rebuilding players.
As far as Will Levis goes, I think any third will do. Try to get multiple. Really. And then I don't think you get multiple with Deshaun. I think it's just like, any third in any year. Most likely you're not going to get anything for him, but
yeah, I agree. You're not going to get much out of that.
Yeah. I mean, so I think in an ideal world, we trade back from the 102 and we stick at the 109, 111. So again, painting the picture for you as we close, and please let us know if you have any questions, anything we didn't cover. But in an ideal world, you end up with Loveland Egbuka, and then we turn the 102 into the 107 in Marvin Harrison, right?
Yeah, that feels good.
we turn the 102 into the 106 in a future first, the 107 in a future first, right? So again, you're adding Loveland and Igbuka, which is going to be very impactful for your roster. All right, Loveland, definitely need that. Igbuka, you definitely need some more strength at wide receiver. In this scenario, okay, you don't add a Tet, but at the 107, who do you add there? There's a incredible player you can add there, and you get a future first for 2026, again, with that 1-year punt. In this scenario, again, you would add Marvin. You would get rid of Pickens. But I think a combination of these is great. And again, I prefer to trade back from the 102. And I think that would put you in a really great spot, honestly.
Yeah, I like all these moves. Let's do our favorites here.
Yeah.
I'll do the 102 George Pickens from Ramondre Stevenson. I'll do the 109 for Rome. And then you can pick 2 if you like.
Yeah, I mean, I love the idea of staying in that range of the 107. And then if you can get any second for Ramondre, I think you'd be cheering your way all the way to the bank.
Yeah. Let us know if you have any questions here happening. I mean, the floor is yours. You can have any other questions. And as we wait for that, I will tell you that you will get this within 48 to 72 hours, maybe a little bit longer, because a lot of people signed up, which we really appreciate. So I'm trying my best to get all these out ASAP for you guys. But you will receive this playbook within the Flock Fantasy message system. So definitely be on the lookout there for your digital copy of your playbook.
Yeah, I'm just going to put this on the devs thing real fast and say, what do I call it? They have like this new system. Team review. Picks.
He said no questions.
Correct.
No questions. Yeah, I appreciate it. Feeling good about the future minus next year. That's all right. Look, I think once minus, yeah, I get it. Keep in mind all those other names that we did mention as easy drops. You only see 4 on there, but you obviously have been on the live stream to know where we could potentially, or who you could potentially drop there. So we appreciate you and your support.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just like, I don't know how to use this whole post thing. Okay, maybe I did it right. I don't know. Okay, sorry. So what did he say? Yeah, like no questions, right?
Yeah, he said we did max points 4 for picks, by the way. Guys don't know if I tried to apply league finishes positions or something for the picks. Right, maybe that's what it was. That kind of jumbled it up a little bit.
No, it should replicate exactly what Sleeper says. So whatever they have it set it as on Sleeper, that's what it should replicate. But obviously something's going on in the back end, so it's hard to say. But anyway, we do appreciate you happen. Reverse max points for is the best way to do it in Dynasty. It is the way to stop tanking. The best way, the only way to stop tanking. So
the best way, the only way.
All right, we're going to do one more team review tonight, and don't worry because tomorrow we'll be live and all we'll be doing is team reviews. So we'll try and knock out a ton.
Knock out all of them. Yeah.
Now, if you want your team playbook, which again, for Happen, for example, he's going to have his team playbook completely customized to his team, a complete guide, game plan for this offseason to completely dominate it, understanding his pathway, his league priorities. That's going to be sent to him within 48 to 72 hours. If you guys want your team review and obviously the Dynasty playbook, 2 options. The first option is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. You also get the 2025 Rookie Report, as well as all the premium tools on the website. Of course, the team playbook. Now, that is the best bang for your buck. You know, if you become a yearly member and you want another review, you actually get discounts off reviews as a yearly member. It's by far the best bang for your buck. The other option is, regardless of what promo code you're on, you can go to the link that I just put in the comment section. It's also the pinned comment, and it will take you to a site where you can get a team review. Just make sure if you want it reviewed live, you pay that $10 more for that tier. All right, last one we're going to look at today is Vish Red.
Vish Red.
And then again, we'll be live tomorrow pumping out a ton of reviews.
Yeah. Vishred, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for the support here, man. And let's read this context, okay? He says, extreme rebuilder in a league where 10 out of 12 teams are trying to contend. I have no 26 first, whoops, and 9 out of
Oh
12
no.
27 first, trying to get in on a stacked draft class as well as 2 27 seconds. How can I position myself best? Do I down tier Lad/Caleb or grab a couple of old running backs with my 2 27 seconds? With
Okay.
my 27 seconds to steady this ship.
As an extreme rebuilder, I do have concerns that one of the first things we talk about is that we don't have our first in 2026. I always have a fundamental problem with that. But if you notice, Badaki, one quarterback starts 7.
This is heavy hitters.
This is all heavy hitters. This depth really does not matter. Okay. You're starting 7 players, 1 flex spot. Your starting lineup needs to be as strong as it possibly can be. So we don't care about the Josh Downses of the world, the Brian Robinsons of the world. Like these depth RB2, 3, wide receiver 3, 4 type options, they do not matter to us. So we'll keep that in mind. Team name is DiCaprio's Dream. And also, I'd say where 10 out of 12 teams are trying to contend, it is smart that you recognized you weren't one of those teams and you rebuild. Now, you are currently ranked 11th out of 12 teams in my rankings. I'm nervous to look at this team, but
this is
we are here to help. Let's have a look at it. Wait a second. There's no way these draft picks are right. Oh, he has all of his picks in 2027. The 2027 picks don't show on our site.
No. But it does say he has the 102, which means he has the 102 in this draft. He says, I have
Oh, is
no
he with
26.
us?
Vish is here. It's because the 27
Okay.
picks aren't showing up. Okay.
Okay, great. Well, look, I almost freaked out there for a second, but you mentioned that you have 9 27 firsts. Okay. So,
there is context in the message system. He says, should clarify my running back plan was Genty and Brooks. I lost both in the last week. So now thinking of taking Burden with the 102 as I'm not convinced by Ted or other running backs to at least stable my core. And this league may switch to Superflex soon, hence the quarterback hoarding.
Okay, hold on. Because he says he had the 101 till last week. How did you lose it last week? Wait, what happened last week that made you lose the 101? Oh, max 0.4. But last week was the playoffs, though.
Do you have something going through the playoffs?
Oh, the last week of the regular. Okay, right. Okay, I understand now. Sorry, I'm an idiot. Okay, yeah, that sucks. But especially in a rebuild, that would have been helpful to try and maximize value.
Yeah, and I think what's also important is this league may switch to Superflex soon.
Okay. And can Vish tell us how soon? When you say soon, is that 5 years? Is that next year?
How confident do you feel that it's actually going to switch?
Is something written down?
Like, all right, guys, this is the last year, December, which I think is dumb. So it's going to switch. Okay.
Okay, well, Drake May, Caleb Williams is a good young core, as well as Bryce Young. Like, your quarterback room is actually not bad, to be honest, for a Superflex league. Like, if you and I saw that quarterback room on a rebuilder, we'd be like, that's pretty good. That's actually a really good core to build around. Running backs are completely irrelevant. Obviously, there's no one to talk about. I mean, Benson, actually. I mean, I still think you and I believe Benson can become the starter in Arizona.
Yeah.
Wide receiver rooms, 3 guys I love in McConkey, Adunze, McMillan, 4 actually in Coker. And then no one at tight end worth talking about whatsoever. Now, we have the 102 this year. I can't help but feel like this is full rebuild. I don't think there's another way.
Nah, there's
not another pathway. This is full rebuild. Yeah.
My thing is, like, let me know what you think, because normally in full rebuild we say to sell everything. but I'm not necessarily sure I want to sell the pieces that we might be talking about
We
here,
want to build
right?
around the guys he has
We
now.
want to keep Drake, Caleb, Benson, Ladd, Rome, McMillan. Just keep those 6 guys or 5 guys I just mentioned. Everyone else, if you can, you sell, or especially your draft capital.
Well, to be honest, like the best path for this team. First off, where the fudge is your 26th first round pick? Who the hell got their hands on that from you? And was this your first Dynasty League and you're with friends, or am I thinking about it, misremembering or misinterpreting?
So Nick and Neil has his 26 first.
Let me guess, the guy at the top of the fucking leaderboard. Yeah, I knew it.
Second, yeah.
It's always people who are in home leagues with friends, and they know more about Dynasty, and then they take advantage of their friends. And I would do the same thing.
You know what you should do? Well, sorry. You said we're friends, yes, for second Dynasty. I was gonna say he has the 102 this year. Is this confirmed? Are you confirmed going to be the 101? Let's see. Tank times 2. You can come. CJ, JJ. He has no running backs, no wide receivers. This guy's gonna be the 101.
Yeah,
next
that
year.
guy's team is far worse. Well, he's gonna add Genty, but
he doesn't even have his first.
What the? Who has this guy's first? Thank you. Come again. Who the hell has this guy's first round pick?
Charger Dynasty.
Oh, these freaking slimy little sluts.
Yeah, that's tough. So,
hey, you know what, Vish? Look yourself in the mirror. Say, at least I'm not. Thank you. Come again. All right, because
we all traded too much. This is like the first year of our Dynasty with everyone was just going crazy, and then everyone drafted a competing team.
I remember what happened on our home Dynasty League. Me and Badaki, we were building the right way. Our entire league built as if it was redraft, made stupid trades, and then after 2 years, they folded. I hope that doesn't happen for you, though, obviously. But because you have a legit core here to build around, right? In Superflex, May, Williams, Young, Ladd. There is no untouchable on this team. I was going to say your untouchable is your own first round pick, but you don't even have it. So
you're going to say 27 first round picks.
Yeah. As far as drops, I mean, if you need to, you can drop. I mean, I don't think you should drop anyone yet, but if you need to, you could probably drop Sean Tucker and Rashawn. But I don't think you need to necessarily. Parker, Washington for sure if they draft someone, and also Javon Baker if they draft someone. But I don't think you need to drop those guys right now.
Yeah. When you're just so he knows, when you're seeing this, I'm putting these guys so it can fill up the graphic, but you don't necessarily have to make these moves. Okay, I'm gonna put Keaton Mitchell there as well. And then maybe let's just for the holds, let's just say we hold our quarterbacks. Drake, May.
Almost everybody's a hold on this team. May, Williams, Benson, Wright.
Well, actually, what we'll do is we'll put
Coker.
4 holds and then 2 drops. How about that?
Yeah. So the holds would be May, Williams, Benson, Coker.
Benson and Trey Benson, and just Coker. With obviously knowing that you're going to keep Ladd and Roma Dunze and McMillan.
Exactly. Like those guys, obviously you're going to hold them. There's really no like Odunze. I can't think of a single reason to sell him in this guy's position. Ladd, you could paint a picture. Like, would you trade Ladd for your own first round pick next year?
Well, that's what I was going to say. I would trade the 102 for my own first round pick next year. That's what I was going to say originally until I realized
I'd rather use the 102 for a haul if it's possible, but that's another idea. Could we trade Ladd for our first and something? Well, okay. You know what's funny is typically on a rebuilder we're gonna like look at your draft cap and everything, and we will, but it's like there's really not anything. Oh, the 102. I mean, look, let's be fair.
So this is going to be a super flex league. So I'm just going to put your league priorities, by the way, as if it is a super flex league. So when you see quarterback as one, um, on the playbook on your graphic here, Vish, just know that it's with the idea of you going into super flex. Okay.
Yeah.
So
This whole
normally
review, if you're actually going to be super flex, this whole review should be based around that, especially if you're not contending.
So especially if it's meat and potatoes, I think maybe.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put RB2, RB as 2, and then tight end 4. So
Okay.
just
No.
in that order.
No 402. Fish, can I ask you, when you submitted your review, did you change anything with the picks, or did you just submit? The only reason I ask is because it's going to be helpful to talk to our developers, because you said there's no 402. Then why is that even showing up? I'm going to say we are reviewing a team now.
Submitted it raw. Love it.
I love it. He went raw. We're reviewing a team now. It shows 4th round picks for the rosters, but the league only has 3 rounds. And let me grab his league ID for them as well. Okay, sorry. This is just all helpful because. All right. Hassan, the way to get your team reviewed, there's 2 ways you can get your team reviewed. First way is by becoming a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND. All right, you'll get the team playbook, the review, and our 2025 rookie report, as well as all the premium tools on the website. The other way is by using the link I'll put in the chat for you. It's also in the pinned comment. You can go to the a la carte store and go to team review and buy one there if you're already on a different code or you just don't want to become a member and only want the review. If you want it live, make sure you get the live tier. But let's have a look here. If we were to stick and pick, I mean, the 102, probably, right, it's either Tet, Burden, or
Marion,
a running back. You know, like,
yeah, Marion, Caleb. Caleb with a K.
Right, it's going to be one of those. At the 304 to be true BPA, we don't really know. Impossible to say at this point, right?
Yeah.
That would really be, in my opinion, it would be worst case scenario for you to just stick and pick. But it's not the worst thing in the world. Like it's okay. What I would rather do is use the 102 to trade back and get a haul, if possible. Right? I mean, it's not always going to be possible in every year. Last year it would have been possible. I can't say for sure about this year, but. At the 102, I mean, let's find a team. Let's find a team that can make sense.
New York Goblin. This is my first thing that came to mind. New York Goblin has the 106 and maybe a TJ, still young.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
you
like
can get a
that.
lot-
As
you
far as
can get a lot more.
maximizing the value of a pick, yeah, I think that can make a lot of sense. You
Or
can
you
sell
can-
TJ in season.
Or 106 in a future first or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, 106. Yeah, I mean, I wonder if he already has this guy's first. Some of these guys first, but the 106 plus future first. I mean, just as an example, not a bad idea.
Well, yeah, you have 9. You have 9 out of 12.
What do you think about doing like Ayuk and the 106? Because I think I would do that as well, but you might be able to extract more
Yeah, you might be able
based
to.
off of the current vibes around Ayuk in the community. Like, could you add? It's a start 7, so we really don't want too many.
You don't want too many dev pieces. That is where I'm struggling with, because if I'm gonna have the 102, should I just get a heavy hitter that is young, or a quote unquote heavy hitter that could develop? Then, like, could we use the 102 to try and use the 102 in something to get Marvin, which I doubt that's possible. Like,
I think I would also try to send like.
it's just gonna be a constant. Yeah, it's gonna be a constant cycle of like, okay, we need to even tier up higher. So if you get Ayuk, you can be like, oh, we want to tier up more, right? Because of the heavy hitters.
But Ayuk is, in my opinion,
Sellable.
likely to improve his value. He's not
Yeah.
sellable right now, but
Yeah, 100%. Like in season, I get that.
Okay, let's keep looking. I like the TJ Hawkinson idea a lot. I want to find the guy that has your first round pick. It was Nick and Neil, right?
Yeah, Nick and Neil.
So
Yes, Brian.
I'd like to
See.
offer him. I think Ladd is worth more than a 26 first, even in this guy's situation. So we're gonna send him Ladd, and we don't want to do this, right? But I want your 2026 first plus the plus would have to be, and that's where things get messy.
Yeah. I feel like his pick.
What about and the 112? Which might be asking for too much. I actually don't think that's asking for too much. Like right now, the vibes on Ladd are an all-time high. In a start 7, that's actually not too much. A start 7. I really don't think that's asking too much in a start 7.
Ladd in your 26 first. So you get Ladd in your top 3 pick in 26 and a 112.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think that's asking too much. Okay, let's keep going though. So tearing down from the 102. This guy has a 109. What do you want? Both picks, but the issue is again, like, he doesn't have his own. Does he have his 27 first? Because I would take his, for example, like 102 for the 109 plus tank you 2027 first. You have his first already. Well, that's smart for you. Let's get rid of that then. There's not really another name that makes sense here, so let's move on.
Unless we just use Ladd to then just get the heavy hitter. Like, would it be crazy to use Ladd in the 102 to then guarantee a Malik, to guarantee a Marvin?
I just don't think that trade is happening in this league. But I also don't think
I'm just thinking out loud of all different scenarios. Like,
yeah. I don't know that we
worth that?
have to figure that out until a while from now. Like, we can consolidate when we have all the assets that we've made. You know, I just think it's about extracting as much value for now.
right? Okay, that's fair.
But
2.
would you do the 105 and what about 105 and Zay? I'm not obsessed with Zay, but I think that maximizes the value.
106. He has 106 and Ayuk we talked about.
I would definitely tear down if you could find your way into Brock Bowers, like 102 to the 110, and then we'd have to add more on top of this. But the 102 for the 110 plus Brock Bowers, and we need to add something significant on our end, like Bryce Young, for example. The guy could definitely use quarterback if it's going to be super flex. I doubt that gets accepted, but I would send it for sure. You can add Coker in there if you need to, like whatever would get that done if it is possible. I think that's probably the least possible trade we've talked about, but I still wanted to mention it.
Yeah.
Tear down to the 108 plus. There's not a good enough plus here. It'd have to be like Waddle.
You can.
It's just not good
maybe
enough.
do Chuba.
It's just not good enough, is it?
Where's
107. Another example of just not good enough.
Oh, that's 109. 109. Trying to find 109 right now. 108. 110. That's Brock Bowers, which you spoke about already. 109 is Tank you coming. So like 109 is not going to sell any of his picks because he has nothing.
I think that's kind of where the road ends for these.
Look, I think the next thing that you could potentially do, which whoever you take at the 102, you sell. So let's just say Tet go. Well, I guess maybe you don't sell
No, I think if you stick and pick, then unless you get a haul, you're fine.
unless you get a
I
haul.
think
Exactly.
the idea is to maximize the hype of, and you want to do this in April, right? Not right now, Vish. In April, the picks will be at an all-time high in value, but honestly, there's not another sell. Like, I really don't think there is another sell on this team. So, Vish, please let us know if you have any questions, if there's anything that we didn't cover, because obviously we want to go in depth, but also I feel like this is kind of where your team stops, and if we keep going, we're going to make shit up, when in reality you might just be better off holding anyway. Vish says, should I prefer a wide receiver over running back at 102 if I keep it, given the timeline of my picks? I think that's a great question, and it really depends on context.
Yeah.
Like, if Tet ends up with the Saints and Omarion Hampton's a first-round pick to the Broncos, then we're still going to go that first-round pick just because of the historic hit rate and our confidence in that situation and your ability to sell a player if you wanted to in a year's time. But the most likely outcome is yes at wide receiver, I'd say.
Yeah, and I think, like, let's just say somebody does something stupid and doesn't take action. Like, well, let me rephrase that. What I've been kind of preaching with everyone that has been saying, well, I have the 101, but I want to sell it. In your case, you have the 102 and you want to sell it, but you can't. I think that 102 is going to gain value, whoever that is. If Tet goes to the Patriots or if Caleb goes to the Vikings, that player is going to gain value, most likely, at least we hope, at the end of that season or in the middle of that season, where you can get maybe 2 picks, right? Right now, Ashton Denti, before he's even in the NFL, he's already valued as 2 picks for in the future.
3.
Once he gets onto a team, right, he could be valued up to 3 picks. So I think you have to just wait and see with the context, like Zach was kind of mentioning, and then take it to the next level and try and sell it.
Yeah. My favorite that we talked about was the T. Higgins and the Bowers deal, but I also love the Lad McConkey deal as much as I love Lad. Is there one you want to highlight? Hawkinson, maybe? You came up with that. That's a great idea. But look, we're going to be here until you're happy, Vish. Want to make sure you feel good about the review, but I think that's probably where the movement ends, because at some point you've kind of already set yourself on a collision course towards 2027. You know, you've kind of already put yourself in a position where you need to wait until 2027, you know. Fish says, all makes sense though. Yeah, honestly, I feel good if you think the core is there. Realistically, I'm waiting, but the other team's fighting it out for the next 2 years or so. If I'm you, I'm kind of hoping it becomes super flex. Honestly.
Yeah, because if you look at the top 2 teams, well, top 2 team, he has Lamar and Kyler, Josh Allen, Trevor, Herbert, Anthony. That might struggle a little bit. But
no, you'd have one of the better quarterback rooms in Superflex, and it kind of favors you to go Superflex anyway because you don't need a quarterback, and if people draft quarterbacks in 2025, that means you'll find more positional players. I really think you should be pushing for this to go Superflex, but
I agree.
Anyway,
appreciate you,
man.
You will be getting
today.
this. By the way, Vish, you will be getting this within 48 to 72 hours on the Flock Fantasy message system. So definitely stay tuned for that. You're gonna get your digital Dynasty playbook with all the information that we talked about here on the chalkboard, and obviously on that graphic that Zach has showed. While you're with all of those, keep in mind as a reminder, we did, grade this as a super flex. So if you see positional priorities as QB1, meaning it's super flex league that we graded it under. But we appreciate you, man. Thank you for the support. Oh, by the way, draft capital and grade as of today, which we didn't talk about.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk about draft capital when we're thinking about all the draft capital you have in 27.
I mean, he has 9 out of 12 27 first. It's an A+ for draft capital. But team grade is probably C flat.
I feel like this is a C flat team. great foundational pieces in the quarterbacks, wide receivers that we kind of spoke about already. So I think that's okay.
Yes, appreciate you, Vish. I'll just answer Trey real quick. I think both Pittman and Etienne are at all-time low values. I think right now, if people are trying to build around one of these players, Pittman's has more value. So what you might want to try is a pick swap that you can add in there, like a second, third pick swap. I think that might make things even because I'm all for buying Etienne, but I think Pittman's a buy low too. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, guys, appreciate you. Check out the pinned comment if you want to buy a team review a la carte. If you want to become a yearly member, you get one for free and a bunch of other awesome perks. So we appreciate you guys for being here. Have a good night. We'll see you soon. Love.
Love.
Oh, the playbook is here. This is what the playbook looks like, my friend. So basically, when you purchase a team review, if you purchase the offline version, which is the base one, this 79 if you're not a member. If you're a member, there's a discount, but you get this offline. Okay, this is a direct graphic, pretty much a game plan for your entire offseason, tell you what to do with your draft picks, specific trade recommendations, main pathway moving forward, understanding your positional priorities, how that impacts the way that you make each and every move, how you draft. Now, if you want a live review alongside of the playbook, then that is just $10 more to prioritize yourself. But some people prefer offline if they don't want their league mates to see it. But this is what the playbook looks like, my friend. And that comes with every review. But of course, if you want the live review alongside of it, where it's done on a live stream, it's just $10 more on that tier. Hopefully that is helpful. Again, we would always suggest to people to become a yearly Mother Flocker member with the promo code LAND, because I think it's by far the best bang for your buck. Not only do you get one of the team playbooks in a review, but you also get our 2025 rookie report. You get discounts on any future purchases. You get all premium tools on the website. I think it's by far the best bang for your buck. But feel free to DM us if you guys have any questions about the reviews or anything. But we appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon. Love.
Love.